And maybe just to get it, who managed to attend our yesterday's training? Any of us, maybe by just a show of hand, anyone who managed to join us yesterday when we began this marathon series? Anyone?
Not me.
Not you. That's okay. So I wanted maybe Margaret, you are there. Yeah, Margaret, I can see. And as we begin this, we have a marathon 6 of 6 series that we have offered, which is basically some of the modules we have in what we call the Certified Human Resource Business Partner, CHRBP, which is a certification course. And we decided to do a marathon so that we can give the participants an opportunity to be able to do even this course virtually, and probably if you're able to complete all the modules that have been offered now and maybe even later, then I'm sure the academy will be able to certify you. So it's for that reason. So this marathon started yesterday, and we started from a topic called internal consultants. So we were looking at HR as internal consultants in our organization. And probably, I don't know whether Margaret, you are able to unmute and just tell us maybe in one sentence what you carried yesterday, just for the sake of the people who didn't attend. It might maybe probably enable them to go back to the academy, and you can still catch up because this is recorded and we have the PowerPoint presentation. So maybe just so that we are able to continue from where we began. Margaret, if you're able to unmute, and anybody who attended yesterday's program, could just tell us in one sentence what you carried home yesterday, just for the benefit of the people who may have missed that. Margaret, are you able to do that? Or you could put it on the chat if you're not able. I know some of us are multitasking. Gashon, I see you can hear me. Bungay, you can hear me. Bungay, I think you were also there yesterday. Margaret, kindly, if you're able to unmute, if you're not able to unmute, you could just put it on the chat so that, and any other person who attended yesterday's forum, for the benefit of the people who could have missed.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Margaret.
Okay, yesterday we learned about HR consultants, which is basically we learned the steps of consultant engagement and the processes that we need in order to be productive in our organization. The steps were you initiate the process, then you problem framing, you get to the root cause of the problem by maybe having a focus group, then research and analysis. You can issue questionnaires to the employees or the persons involved. The other thing was brainstorming to find the best solution, then testing, then decision point. Those were my carry home points from yesterday's discussion. Thank you.
Wow, excellent, excellent. She has captured the heart of it, the entire process that we take in terms of doing internal consulting. And we compare this to when you generally hear about consulting, what normally comes in mind is this external consultant coming on board and doing consulting. So, but we wanted as HR, as we try to be what we call the CHRBP, that is, we have a course called Certified Human Resource Business Partner. We want to move away from the administrative role of the very administrative and mundane role of HR to being strategic partners. You want to partner with the business, and for you to be a strategic partner, and you have to now be able to talk the language of the business, be able to live, because we also have this HR jargon. It's about HR, about personnel, about payroll, about leave, about pension, about insurances, the medical. Of course, fair enough. Those are our duties, which we have to actually perform on every day. But we want to position ourselves as the future HR, because most of the HR, we want to sit at the table. We want to sit, take up those board positions. We want to be the CEOs in those very C-suite offices, because what do they look for? And you might find that in some of the institutions, where the HR has been positioned, you may not even be able to sit at the SUS. And we want to actually revolutionize how we look at ourselves, that we should be very strategic. We partner with the business, leave our good offices, be there in the trenches with the other, because we have to understand it from the global, or what we call the group strategy. Why does your organization exist? That is the business. So when you talk about business partnership, talking about the language of the business, we don't necessarily mean that you have to be in a profit-making organization. We are talking about your very own organization that you are in, whether it is non-governmental, not for profit, a service industry, you are in the public industry. There must be the essence of the formation of that organization. What is the core mandate? Whether it is found in the statute, whether your organization was established by a constitution, or whether it is a private entity, whether it's a financial institution. Why does your organization exist? What business are you in? Is it serving the public? So we want to be very strategic, that we are there to serve the business. When you can only do that once we understand our vision, our mission, our values, our core mandate, and then we have to be in the decision making when they're making business decisions in our organization, in terms of even the strategic planning, the input, the decisions that are made, how various organs or functions or departments in your organization derive their strategic objective. Of course, we have the group strategic objective, but every department, be it the core, I know there are those that we call the core, and we get very annoyed in HR when we think, why do the engineering department think they are more core than HR? Why do you think finance think they are more core than this? So the core is what is at the heart of the business. So we want to be part of that pie. And in every activity that we do, when you talk about business partnering, we want to anchor everything around the strategy, that all the solutions that we are going to give in terms of the human capital strategy, they are responding to a business need to achieve a particular goal that has been achieved in the strategic plan. So of course, some of us aspire to be external consultants. And I said, we need to start from where we are. Why don't we become the internal consultants in our own small ways, whether it is in the interviewing, the background check, in terms of the recruitment. We talked about training, talent management, educating, even the masses and the public. When you talk about the public participation and awareness, if you're in the public sector, is it performance management, that you can train people, go to the departments, a system come up with the individual work plans and the targets in any activity of HR. And we said, we also need to look at, remove ourselves. I always tell people, if you don't have your current title, who are you? Probably you are the director HR where you are. If that position is to be striped off you, then who do we call you? Of course, we'll call you CHRP so and so because you have that certification. But who are you? And when you meet with other people, how do you even introduce yourself? At times, when you go for these physical activities, I always challenge people. Tell us who you are and what you do, and don't tell us the title and the position you hold. Of course, sometimes I would want to know how the departments are structured so that then we are able to know how to go. So that is basically what we covered yesterday. It was not so much, but it was the introductory session of this. And I'm sure if you speak to Dan, who is the principal of this academy, of course, the Academy of Certified HR Professionals, what we do, we train. And our trainings are purely HR and management training. Nothing more. So our main concentration is training HR professionals, and we train in terms of upskilling the people so that we can go deep into the ordinary HR we do. Then we want to expand our knowledge in each and every section. And we always pick the feedback that we get from our participants so that then we can tailor-made and custom materials that are responsive to what we are doing in the workplaces. So maybe just to sum it off before, about yesterday, before we said this is a marathon of 6 courses. We started with internal HR consulting skills, which I think we did justice from what I've heard from Margaret. So today we are about to tackle communication and influencing skills, which I'll take you through. And then we also have tomorrow, there's change management skill, which will happen from 9 to at the same time to 12. And then the fourth one that we'll also do management, managing talent, which will happen on 1st of December from 2 to 5. And then again, on 2nd of December, we are doing designing succession plan from 9 to 12. And then the same day in the afternoon, we are going to look at HR analytics, which will be taken in by Irene Miako. So I'll be taking you through the communication and influencing skills. I did the internal HR consulting. I'll also take you through the change. I will be in the morning sessions. Then Irene will tackle the days we have in the afternoon. She'll be dealing with the programs that are coming in the afternoon, like managing talents and also the HR analytics, which will be done on Saturday afternoon. And if you're able to do all that, we are doing it at a very affordable price of 1,000 per module, which is cumulative about 6,000. And then I think you'll be able to see how you can now talk the language of the business, and you can maybe partner with them. Of course, when you see topics like communication and influencing skills, of course, we'll go from how do you have conversations, you and your friends and your social circles and your colleagues. Basic communications, what are the do's and what are the don'ts? And also we're also looking at how you communicate. We want you to influence others in the workplaces. And we said, who are your client when you're doing internal consultant? And we found that your clients are your internal colleagues, the senior management. It could be the board, because we are trying to give a human capital strategic solution that is going to resolve a particular business challenge. And our main clients is, who will you be pitching this presentation to? Because at the end of the day, we want to see decisions made, approvals made, and we also need to work with the other people, because as HR, when you are now central and you are in that supportive role and facilitative role in terms of achievement of the strategic goal, then that means you will need to work with all the department, especially the core, who are carrying the biggest of the strategic goals and objectives, so that you can facilitate them. And we want HR to be impactful. So Margaret, thank you very, very much. I don't know whether I closed someone out who wanted to comment about it yesterday. You can now put your hand down. Anyone who just want to put a point, what you carried home, whether it is personal, you want to go into HR consultancy alone, and what to do. Okay, I can see any other hand. So with that, I think I will continue. So that's fair enough. We were just giving you a nice break of what we did yesterday. So we changed gears, and then here we are for today, communication and influence skills. And I hope you're also able to see my presentation. I've shared my screen. You're able to see that, Gershon? Please confirm that you can see the screen.
I can see. Yeah, it has been here.
Great. So for the personal, for the purpose of introduction, and so that we know each other, you'll find, like, I like my classes interactive. I don't want to talk myself. Kindly let us engage, indulge. This is how we learn. Yesterday I mentioned I learn more from training than even doing, because of the network and the network and the number of people you meet. When you are doing, you learn a lot. So as much as I'm trying to impact some knowledge on you, I also learn a lot. So don't deny me that opportunity. So to my name, as you can see on the screen, my name is Rhoda Wairioko. I'm a HR consultant. I'm also a corporate trainer, and I train with ACHRP because I found this is a good place, being an academy of just networking with the HR as professionals. And I can tell you the academy has the biggest database in terms of the HR professionals that are there together in their various groups. I know we have various groups and forums, whether it's on Facebook, on WhatsApp, where all HR minds come together and brainstorm. So, and basically, if you look at their training, it is purely HR. And we just don't do talks, we train. So it is thoroughly researched. You dive into a topic, take a topic as small as it is communication and influencing. And it's also a place for us to sharpen each other in a very safe environment. So you're welcome to also reach to us and tell us what can you do in terms of training, talent management. If you find like your passion is in training, this is a very good forum to exercise it and maybe earn a few coins as you carry on your other duties. So that is me, Rhoda Wairiuko. I've been in this industry for about a couple of years, let's say now 20 years in the HR practice, and now trying to transit into other activities. And as you could hear yesterday, I kept on challenging HR. Beyond HR, what else can you do? And we found like our territory has been invaded by all professionals, be it engineers. I'm sure even in your workplace and the people who you have interacted with, we keep on saying, this person is HR, this person is HR. And you might find some of them have been in other arts and trades for over 20 years. Then as a retirement, as they're preparing to go into consultants, they decide now to come and do HR. And for HR is one of the professionals that you discover, you can easily transit into HR, because basically what do you need? You just need to do a CHRP course, get certified within 1-2 years, and maybe get some exemption if you did any other course, whether it's procurement, engineering, or what, and be it. And they come and join you, and they've been in the industry. And what have they been doing in the industry? In the core and the hearts of the business. And they come talking the business language. And thus, we are stuck there from how we started. And I challenged people yesterday, please do something else to just substitute. I'm not telling you leave HR. HR is very good. That is my blood. I'm passionate about HR. But what else can we come and incorporate so that we can substitute and make ourselves rich as we become HR partners, internal consultants who can consult for the business and talk the business language, and then package yourself out there and see what else can you capture as they're coming in. That's also invade them and talk into the business. So you may look at what is the core of your organization or the industry that you want to go into and master that art and be, so that you can have, once you have two trades and you're able to mix the two, then when someone asks, what do you have to offer? You have something very beautiful to offer. And what else can you do? You can do so differently, because the bottom line, we are all looking for income, aren't we? So that's us. So let us look at communication and influencing skills from that perspective of wanting to transmit into how you network, how you influence your senior managers. I'm sure majority of them, or many of you, could be already in very senior management position, but we work with the other directors and the C-suite employees and the board. How do we influence them so that when we talk, they listen? When we talk, they have substance. Of course, we say, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, yes, we're talking about communication, but what are you communicating? Do we have the content to go with? So that when we speak, it is not just because we are loud, or Rhoda is in HR, or she's the chief manager HR, or she's the chief people's officer. It is because when she talks, she is talking content. How do we package ourselves, and what are we telling the other people? So we look at it. So fast forward, let us move so that we can capture. But in case you have any housekeeping issues, you can always raise. Please feel free. I'm very interactive, to just raise your hand, or maybe just stop me and tell me maybe to elaborate more of that other probably I have spoken about. So feel free. It is an open forum where we can discuss and we exchange ideas, ask each other's questions, and then let's explore more. So it's just an exploratory journey that we are in together. So in terms of what you're going to cover in the next 2.5 hours, if I'm right, yes, we're going to look at the knowledge and experience of the business. So when we say, let us partner with the business, what do I mean? What is business acumen? What is talking the business language? So we want to see, apart from the HR skills that we have, I'm sure we have job analysis skills, job evaluation skills, we have payroll administration skills, we can do leave flawlessly, we can manage the pension, we can do training, and we can do recruitment. all the functions of HR that you can name, those not being the all of them. When you talk about what is the extra knowledge and experience do we need so that we can be able to talk the language of the business, we're also going to look at how as HR practitioners, yes, practitioners, can we develop what we call strong business acumen? Can you hear a question or a comment? Okay, probably someone's mic was on. We're also going to look at communicating in business terms with the senior leaders, be it the people in the C-suite, be it the CEO or the board, because we work with people who we need their approval. If it's not the approval we are picking or we are seeking, we are also seeking their buy-in. Because by the time you want to go pitch your presentation and a proposal, and probably coming from an internal consultant position, you want to collaborate with the other people and your peers so that they can support your initiatives. And when you go to pitch, they can say, I can see where she's coming from. And I agree, in the business, we're having these pain points. And we discussed and we looked at this. We want people to speak for you and to support your ideas. And we want them to buy in. We're also going to learn about communicating HR policies of the organization, because we find like change is inevitable. There are a lot of changes that are happening in the environment, be it the legislative framework that is now changing frequently, may it be maybe decisions that have been made through judicial presidents and then changes how we do our work, may it be the technological advancement, maybe the changes in the competition or the business structures and the organization effectiveness. A lot of changes normally happen that trigger us the need for us to review our HR policies in the organization, because actually we are the people who formulate, who develop, and who implement, or maybe even out of experience, we find this is what our HR policy says, but now it is not working for us, or it's not effective in terms of what it was trying to cure. Again, apart from experiences, you might also find that you have gone into CBA negotiations with the union. They have been able to push you a bit and they have been able to get some better terms and conditions, and that triggers you come back and review your HR policies of that organization. Once you review them, how do we communicate to the organization as a whole, and how do we communicate to the individual employee, and what are maybe some of the things that we should do in that? Again, we're going to look at the skills to engage people in conversation, just like we're having. Today, we're having a conversation. We are talking. You have to engage people. You'll go to a wedding. You'll go to a social event. You will go to a networking, whether professional conferences. How do we engage with the other people in conversations? How do you strike a conversation? Let's not assume that every HR or every person, not just HR, know how to strike a conversation and maintain a conversation. And what do you want to get from that network that you're going to engage with? Again, we're going to see how do we build trusting relationship, because communication, influencing, it is founded on trust. So we want people to look at us from a credible position. They can trust us so that when we talk to them, we can know what they are thinking. They can support maybe what we want, and we can have what we call a convergence of the mind. Then we also want to look at how do we connect HR department with the other functions of the organization. Again, we are going to look at facilitating the management team, being seated at the senior management level. What are the other activities we can do as HR so that we're in that position of facilitating generally the management team? Could it be team building? Could it be conducting town hall meetings, employees meeting, end of the year party? What is it that we can do in terms of facilitating that team in management? Because we want to partner the business, and you can only do this effectively through the management team, who are our peers and our colleagues. We'll also revisit. I know we have relearned in every course, whether from our diploma level, from our degree level, from CHRP, communication has been a course. So just as a reminder, we'll remind ourselves on basic things like what entails active listening. And through active listening, How do we influence others through the influencing techniques? And then finally, we are going to close with looking at how we build harmonious relationship and trust for now and for our future. That is basically what I intend to cover in the next 2.5 hours. And then we will have wrapped up the whole thing of communication and influencing skills. Any question? Any expectation that you think is not covered that you may want us maybe to discuss and explore? Let me hear. Or we are good to go. You can put your comments on the chat. None that I've seen. I can see any hands on. So let's proceed. So the first point we talked about is knowledge and experience of the business. And here we are saying having the knowledge of the business is actually a strategic asset. And I'll keep on using the word strategic HR, strategic asset. Why do we keep on looking at the word strategic? Everything we do, why we exist as a HR function, it is to enable the organization to carry out their mandate and to meet their goals. And how do organizations execute their mandate and their goals, which is, and the purpose of that? It is through what we call the strategic mapping. And a strategy or a strategic plan is merely a strategic roadmap where the organization decide we want to move from point A and we want to move to point B. And then they come together and say, what is the strategic map or what is the blueprint that we have to take to enable us move from this position that we are of A to point B? And they will come up with plans through what we call the strategic objectives, come up with plans from all those strategic objectives. And for those of us who now have been very strategic, you'll always find, because you sit in that business decision making table, even when you come to the 3 strategic objectives, or what we call the strategic pillars, you'll always have a pillar that is anchored towards HR or human capital. So you'll find like probably you have a human capital pillar in your whole strategic plan. That means you are at the heart of it as a senior person in the HR, because as you're discussing all the other strategic objectives, be it the growth of the business, sustainability, whatever is core, you are among the 5 key priorities of that organization, because we realize we can come up with very good strategies and plan, but who execute them? It is the people. And who are HR? We are people's manager. We manage that human capital. There is no way an organization can be run through strategies and through finance and through systems alone. There must be at the back of it the people who are human, who are driving it. So for us to be able to equip ourselves with the knowledge of the entire business, it becomes a very strategic asset, because that means we can have an impact on the business directly, or we can use that strategic asset to be of a great asset in terms of what we do in future. You can look for more challenging opportunities. You can be able to be agile and move to other industries because you add up and you understand that business. So it becomes a strategic asset. Just like we saw, if you're to start from internal consultant, which I encourage a lot of you, the year is just coming to an end and we're in a marathon. When you're coming up with your priority, I hope you have your own personal strategic plan. When you come to the end of the year resolution, for those who believes in them, and you're doing your planning for the next 3 years, for the next 1 year, how do you want your 2024 look like? I'll challenge you, try to do at least 1 consultant assignment, be it internally, that we've always been looking at the organization effectiveness, review of the organization structure, job analysis, change of the management team. Whether you start by looking for someone to come and do that for us, for you, and you work with them, don't over delegate. Ensure you are able to understand HR consultant from the start to the end. By the time you are doing TOR, understand, because you have to initiate it from your end. By the time they're giving you their technical and financial proposal, read it word to word. Understand how people derive financial proposals, how they charge, how they do their technical proposals in terms of the methodology and all the steps that are there. Watch it. As you negotiate, look at how it's done. as they come up with an implementation plan and they embark on the work, look at it. As they do their final report, be it part of it. As they do the validation through your senior management, the board, be part of that group and observe the NAS. Those are how you collect your tools of trade. And then, those will be strategic assets. When you feel you're strong enough, or if you don't have that opportunity, even externally, from your friends who are out here, who are doing consultancy, who are doing SMEs, they are in the small businesses and they own their company. You can even do it on a voluntary basis. That I want to test myself, can I go? You can go to your church. Maybe they need a HR activity. Maybe they want a review of some documents. Maybe they want to do recruitment. You can say, I volunteer to do the recruitment and to sit in the interviews. Maybe they want to do background check. You can offer to do it for them, maybe free of charge, pro bono, or maybe with at a small fee. Challenge yourself that next year, if this year is too late, that you have engaged in one consultancy using your strategic assets that you have gathered along your way. If you want to train and you think you're very good in training, this is passion, pick a topic of your own that you love. Get in touch with the academy and say, just give me even 3 hours or 1 hour session, whether online or physical, and I want to train people on this. I talk to them. That is still consultancy. So we are trying to gather this strategic asset, which can be very useful, sorry for digressing, for the organization, and we can use it also as a strategic asset to ourselves. So what we mean by business knowledge, it is just a sum total of the skills that we look at them. I'm telling you to go out so that you can gather what you call experience. Of course, it starts from knowledge. What we are doing now, we are getting concepts and information about how to do something. With time and analyzing it and putting into practice, you now get skilled in that particular process. And then with time, within a month, within 2 months, when you do it, redo it again, you keep on refining it. And then you have the capability and also put insight into it so that after every activity you do, then you have a reflection and say, did it work? And that is why you find like even trainers will always want to get in terms of the recap. What is it that you took home? That tells you whether people really understood what you were training or probably they didn't get. So that is the insight you want to get. You get the feedback, and collectively, then you want to create something that can be relied on the business, and you become impactful. Of course, the other issue, we say is understanding essential business concepts and tools can benefit all professionals, just not HR. And then we also find like the success demand more than what we call the hard work. At times we say, I'm very hardworking. I'm very resilient. And I can tell you in this environment, as you grow out in your career and as you advance, you'll find like hard work is not enough. Your resilience is not enough. An expert in your field, again, as a HR, maybe you have been in HR, I told you I've been in HR for the last 20 years. For how long more will I be in HR? And what else? Again, it is always very beautiful when you start as a HR generalist. A HR generalist, you do every end-to-end of the HR. And for how long can you do that? Because mostly it will not change. You will move from one organization to another organization. If it's payroll, it's only the system that will change. If it's medical, it is the only insurance underwriter that will change. And probably how you manage it. Probably you manage it through your clinics and in-house, or it's done by an insurance or an insurance brokerage. That's all what will change. Same case to pension. Leave, it is only the entitlements that will change. Recruitment, basically, you have to do a JD, a job advert, the same thing. So again, we want, as you grow, now you can move from the generalist role and now enter the center of expertise. And PAIC, which is this area of HR that I want to become a master, you granularize and you understand it and you become an expert. Be it training, that now I want to now stop doing all these other activities because I feel they're administrative in nature and I really want to master this or move to this inch of a training, you want to go into maybe talent management only, you want to go into HR business and do it from a very, of course, the organization are inverted. You could also find there are very big organizations that start from that level of specialization. You become a trainer. I've had people who have told me, I've been HR for the last 20 years, but all I do is administrative, management of transport and the fleet, management of the messengers and the cleaning and the taxi services. Yet you've been HR for the last 20 years. You've had other people, I'm a welfare officer, I'm in this docket for this number of years. So again, what is it that you do? And I always look at your talents, look at your passion. What is it that you want to drive? And as you go higher, it doesn't mean you're coming down. You're going to specializing and having an impact, because we want to move close to the business. You can imagine you have been entrusted with the entire talent management. That means you will be impacting anything on talent management. It is your impact that will be felt by the business. And you can get these positions still at very senior levels, at C-suite levels, where you do that because you want to be as close. That brings you now very close to the business and the heart of it and the strategy objective, because you are able to relieve yourself from these normal routine administrative roles. So again, we are saying success does not just demand the expertise you have in HR, and HR being a general activity. In order to succeed, you need to understand and to become very proficient in a set of fundamental business skills that we are going to look at. So some of the most, I've just picked like 10, and which I've borrowed from the Harvard Business School, what they pick as the 10 valuable business skills for workplace success. And some of them is data analysis. How many of us are very comfortable and very agile when we come to data analysis, particularly even using Microsoft applications and other applications like Excel, that once you're given large data, you can be able to analyze, come up with formulas, analyze data, and come up into flow charts and charts, data analysis. So that all the information that you've gone out, we saw there is the data collection and the research when you come to consultant. Are you able to come back, analyze, see what is comparable, which data is relevant to your case and which is not that? So you must be very comfortable with numbers. Data analysis is just about data, a lot of information, which you are able to synthesize and come up with maybe one page or one chart that can show the graphs and the trends and what is likely to happen. So you must be very comfortable with data analysis. If you know you are not good in Excel, it is the simplest and the basic application you can use in terms of data analysis, whether you want to come with pie charts, flow charts, threads. That data can be collected and analyzed, and you can play around with it, including even when you're doing your budgeting and showing how maybe even the movements and different scenarios. You can test a lot of scenarios with that. Look for a course for data analysis, or be able to do that data analysis properly. The other issue, you must be able to understand the economics. What are the economics of skills? How is the outside economic environment influencing the way you do things, how you recruit, how you retain your employees, the decision you make? Because by understanding the economics, that means you can be able to go out and look for data, even when you're doing the salary surveys, and say, I'm going to farm X and not Y, because if you look at the environment they're operating on, the economics, their budget, their sustainability, their clientele, all that, they are similar to my organization. So you are able to make a better decision. Emotional intelligence, because you deal with people. You need to influence people. You want to communicate to them. You want to get the best out of people, so that we are not just directing. You know, at HR, at times we feel we are at a position of directing everybody because we are the people who recruit and terminate. So we sit in the suit and we think we have the powers. Mtu akionekana HR manager akipita kwa corridor, everybody disappears, because we are used to issuing instruction, do's and the do's. And most of our circulars are full of do's, do not do. So we want to have that emotional intelligence. Of course, emotional intelligence, it's about how we are experienced by the other people, and also how we experience ourselves in terms of self-awareness. Are you aware? Are you self-aware of how you react, how you change, how your mood change, how you're likely to be affected or triggered by a particular event? We need to understand that. So emotional intelligence starts from you. Do you understand yourself? Because if you don't understand yourself, it will be hard for you to be understood by other people and also to understand the other people. Have a reflection on everything that you do and see how are you impacting on the other people that come into contact with you. Networking is very critical. There is nothing that you can do alone. And that's why I love these forums, because you get to meet a lot of people from all walks of life and you're able to network. And anytime that you're looking at networking, what is it that you want to derive at the end of the day? Leadership. We are not going to reiterate this. You're going to deal with people in the C-suite, the senior management. You want to offer, you'll be running with tasks, projects. So you need to have that leadership, and there are also people that you are supervising. You must be able to have what we call the business management skills to know how business operate and what are some of the factors that influence their efficiency and also their effectiveness in terms of organization effectiveness. Then project management, because consulting, dealing with the business, you're dealing with projects and projects and projects from one to another, from the business, from the HR. There's a lot of planning and there's a lot of facilitation and also organization that comes into play. Financial management. You must get comfortable with the numbers. You must be in a position that when you post your financials at the end of the year, you can look at those financials and see how HR is being felt and how you're impacting it. Is it in terms of the cost? You must be able to see how the business is running, what are the ratios, and by the time you go to the HR, I think analytics, I think it's HR analytics that talks about financial management and also how you analyze financials. What is a balance sheet? How do you look and what are some of the things that how do you come up with them? When you see a profit and loss statement, what is it? What are financial statements? What are the components? How to be able to quickly come up with some ratios and understand what these ratios are. And also this is a good way where you can even prepare yourself, like those people who report under the corporate services. You know, finance comes under corporate services, and maybe you could prepare yourself in terms of when financials and budgets come, what are some of the ratios that are key that will keep the board awake at night, or the CEO, or even the treasury. We also must learn how to communicate and to negotiate. And then financial accounting, it's a must skill that you need to grow yourself. So you can see the skills are totally different from what you have from a general HR, because now we want to have a business impact. How do you go about developing strong business acumen with the skills that we've talked about? And we find just a minute, sorry. Wanted to close one window. We say business acumen refers actually just the ability to understand the organizational goals. I think having explained that, I've done a lot of talking, and most of the things I've been talking is just to tie one slide to the other. And now as we start now moving with the slides, because of essence of time, you will find like we have spoken about most, but I just want to check that there's something, I've not left something. But of course, when I find that, I'll post and do further explanation. So as we have spoken and looked at those skills in detail, we say business acumen just refers to the ability to understand an organization's goals through the strategic objectives, the purpose, the visions, and to create the processes in HR or in the organization and policies and activities that are aligned with that best serves the organization and drives it forward. So here, you look at yourself as a facilitator, as a strategic driver of the business. And all the processes, when you come to process reviews and business reengineering, the processes that you come up with, the policies and the activities of HR, you should try as much as possible not just to copy from what other colleagues are doing in the industry. Of course, we say you benchmark, but you must be able to tailor it to the needs of the business that serves them. That is why even when you come up with a HR policy, you will get the public, probably even the people in private will do that, the public service HR policies and procedures manual, which they have given as a general guidelines, but you still come back and find like-minded organizations, or how you want to structure your organization, and then you formulate so that you already have your specific needs. As long as you don't go beyond the limits that have been provided with you, then you're still good at it. So we want to tailor it so that it can be able to enable and to drive the organization goals. Then we say business acumen is a vehicle for improving financial performance and also leadership development in everything that you do. And we again say HR professionals who have business acumen understand the core business principles. They understand the internal as well as the external operations of the business they are in or the organization, and they clearly understand the goals of the organization, and they can strategically tailor and position their policies and everyday activities to best serve the organization and its end customers. So when you talk about the end customers, we are talking about the different functions you have in your organization. Those are your customers. Your employees are your end customers. Again, we agreed that HR now is moving, when you now approach it from a business partnership, you move it from the internal customers that you have, and you are also expand your mind, because you see, you are even understanding the external operations. You now start even serving the external stakeholders. So when you're having stakeholders engagement, validation forums as HR, you know, those are also your end customers, because organizational effectiveness is what your core goal is. So you also want to hear how this organization that we run, how is it being felt by the external stakeholders? How are my employees being felt? So you also impact, because you are actually trying to drive the mission of that organizations. So as HR, you'll find like I like using a lot of pictorials, because they just summarize what we want to say, and just to break the monotony of the very many slides, which may make us get lost in the wording. So the first thing you need to do as you're trying to develop your business acumen is you need to intentionally build a deep understanding of your business. If you have never studied your strategic plans and your performance reports from end to end, and we always turn to that page that talks about HR, when you go to the operational plans, you'll just go to section that where HR has target and populate, and you don't even care how the other business, please look at it holistically. And then you can see, how am I impacting on this other? Look at it. Understand what are the strategic pillars, the 5, how we have said we are going to approach it, how we have, then you try to link it to HR. So build a deep understanding of your business. The next thing you can do, you can try to get a mentor. And probably, and more importantly, not maybe even a HR mentor. It is someone who is at a higher position that in you, in that area of operation or business that you want to study, that you want to get more insight of. You will find like majority of HR, or not majority, some of us, especially if you're not good with numbers and you don't like numbers, you are likely not to get along very well with your finance director, your head of finance, and you'll always be at loggerhead. Why? Because you get provoked easily when they bring you back and ask you hard questions about the figures, and you think these are accountants and they just think in terms of accounting. I can tell you one of the things that I do. When I go to an institution, the number one person I would want to know is the finance person, probably the legal, because of the intricacies that comes into it, and probably the biggest department that derives, which are the cause. Why? Because once you understand them, what they do, the circumstances they operate on, the challenges they are having, which are the business pain points, then you can, everything you do, you can be able to try to respond to that in terms of supporting everything they do. Try to understand. If you think your legal department is the one that will give you a lot of challenges because they talk a lot of jargon, try to understand it, learn it. Even when you go to a policy proposal and you know, I'll have a panel of about 5 lawyers in that forum. You'll have as many opinions as the number of lawyers in that meeting, especially when you have legal intensive department. Please do your thorough research. When you want to quote a provision of law, understand it, research it, so that you should prepare yourself for all the questions that are likely to come. By the time you meet them, the questions they think they want to throw you off the balance with, you had already factored it, considered it, and see it why you didn't include and why you included that. So you have that. So that again, you don't find yourself saying, I want to go back and research it, or whatever they keep on saying, it becomes what it is. And probably it's not. At times they may misguide you. But once you do thorough research, do that. You could even decide to have your own mentor who is in that line. That everything that you do, when you know you're likely to have this kind of criticism and objection, you can bounce it through them and you'll be able. That's what mentorship is all about. The other one, continuously educate yourself. I said, learn something else. Get out of your comfort zone. Keep on learning, educating yourself on every day, on everything that you do. It is very essential for you. It is never too late at any point. Educate yourself and continuously do that. Then consider job shadowing, where you go see to that director, see what they go through, try to understand the process, talk to the people so that you are able to understand. Or you can consider doing another role of job shadowing so that you can really understand. I can tell you at some point, I think in the course of this year, I took a whole break of about 2 months and I was able to sit in things that I wanted to do, job shadowing, sitting, doing all that so that you are able to improve myself. I was able to sit in court for about 2 months, just trying to work with the magistrates and to hear how the cross-examination is done, how we go through the whole motions of the court and learn, write judgments and do all that. That is what you call like job shadowing. And then you become a better person and you put yourself, because you are able to take different roles. You can remove yourself from the HR, from that position, and you are able to look at it and understand it from the other perspective. Then develop knowledge of and apply, and especially here, again, even the people in the public, the job shadowing could also come in terms of the exchange programs that are available, even in secondments. I have seen a lot of friends even going out of the country for those secondments and exchange programs for about a year and two, and by the time they come back, they are totally different things that probably you want, and you're challenged, and you know, kumbe, there are a lot of these other things that are outside there. Then develop knowledge of and apply common management theories. Try to learn. You'll find a lot of theories, a lot of philosophies, a lot of models, and then pick the one that best suits your organization. Teach others the way we are doing. By teaching, you learn a lot. You can imagine by the time we came up with this program of certified HRBP, how much research went into it. I can tell you, delivery of training like what we're doing here for 3 hours, it's the easiest thing that you can do. You don't know how many midnight oil had been burned to develop all that materials and to come and put it together. So you force yourself to teach. You force yourself to learn, to unlearn, so that you are able to understand this. And just what you can see in one, maybe PowerPoint slides, had been researched in various books and so. So don't be afraid to ask questions again. Don't pretend you know where you don't know. Always ask questions for clarity. Probe so that you get the information, and we'll see how we hold such conversation. Then get a grasp of your desired customer base. Who is it that you want to serve as an individual? Because we are all talented differently. We have different passions. We are all in HR. We've been in HR for all this, but what we are passionate about is totally different. So find where your joy and your purpose is and try to do that so that you can be able to even monetize it in terms of trying to come up with different ways you can earn money in terms of using your talents that you've gathered for all these years. It is hard. It has been for the good of those organizations that you have been serving, and it should also be good for you, because one time we'll all exit and we'll all retire. What are we going to do with ourselves? That is just the challenge that I'm giving. And we don't start at 60 or 50. You start it early. Maybe for us, we started too late. We always feel we could have started this much earlier, but I think it's still okay. A step at a day, and we can say Rome was not built in a day. Why is business acumen important for HR professionals? Just to run through fast, for decision and also growth. It makes your work very easy in terms of decision making, and you can also grow as an individual. So you're able to make data-driven decisions, which will help the organization grow and also increase its profitability. And you'll find when you're able to speak the language of the business and you give your presentations and proposal, which are backed by sufficient information and data, you're likely to have a very good buy-in from the other because you are speaking what they want to hear. And you have already considered their fears and the risk and the financial implication. Of course, we talk about strategy and vision, and we say as HR, you can connect HR strategy to the business outcome so that when you're even coming up with a HR strategy plan, you are deriving it from the business outcomes or the group strategic plans. So when you understand the financials, the products and the services that you're dealing with, and how HR policies and other activities impact on the business, then you're able to see the bigger picture and speak the same language as your other organization leaders. Of course, for us, we have to collaborate, and we want to build what we call the trust and credibility, that whatever we say, it is reliable and people can make decisions with them, and they can say that is a trusted and a credible source. So only when business leaders trust you, you are able to fully contribute and to add value to the business. Business acumen actually allows you to build this trust and also credibility. Of course, learning and understand the business, it gives you the insight. You collect the data, you analyze, then it gives you the insight, and this insight, you need to convert them into actions through the implementation matrix for you to be able to see the outcome. So we say business acumen will give you a deeper understanding of the industry and the market of your organization, your customers that you're serving, and competitors, as well as the value that you provide to the business and also to these end customers. Any question? If I may pause at that point, any question? Are we on the right pace, or am I moving so fast? Am I too fast? Let me just hear, or we can continue at the same pace.
We're just okay.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Yeah.
So let's look at and feel free to stop me if you feel I'm flying. Sometimes I'm tempted to just move on. So communicating in business terms with senior leaders. Of course, we say the people we want to influence are the people in the C-suite, the senior leaders, who are your peers, or maybe they could, depending on the position that you are, they could be higher than you, and also the board. So we say when HR practitioners are able to fully grasp how the business works and speak the language of the leaders and the business, they can substantially impact on the business results. This adds incredible values to the organization, which then is able to create the business strategies that drive profits and also increase the competitiveness. And when you come to HR analytics, where we are going to learn, I'm sure you will learn about those ratios and how you analyze those. Ensure, even the next strategic meeting that you go, where you are with the other senior leaders as the HR representative, please ask some very intelligent questions. Look at the financial and try to interrogate. Look at the ratios. Ask a question that of those, remove yourself from the HR and make sure in that forum you have probed a financial using what you have learned. And you'll see the change in people's mind. Don't be where they say, Rhoda from HR, do you have anything to add? And you say, I have nothing useful to add, because actually you don't even understand it for you even to comment. Ensure that you challenge yourself. That is why you'll sleep even as you are preparing for the next day, to ensure when production department are presenting this, I really want to understand why their expenses are going higher than they are getting the reward, and know their challenges. Look at the previous reports and see how they relate, and probably ask, how can HR be of a solution? Have we looked at the performance appraisals and we see what are the challenges? Can we sit with the senior management and see, can we maybe develop a curriculum with the internal resources that we have so that we train people? We take what are the performance gaps, because we see there's a deficiency or a gap in performance, and what are the development initiatives that we need, so that you come up from just giving people for training to go and earn per diem. You want to be impactful, especially when you have enough resources that you can do your own trainings in-house, using your internal For you, you just become a facilitator. Your own people can do that and can mentor each other and we can derive. The people who have persistently not performed, try to understand the real core by going to their departmental meetings, sitting with them and trying to come up with a solution. So you are there to serve the business strategies and also to support the business units. Then when we say that when you as a HR professional fully understands the organizational goals, values, and missions, your understanding of what is needed actually evolves. It is a total game changer and will be able to be more confident in taking action and implementing change. You'll also earn credibility and trust of your senior leadership and also your peers. The other point I want to say is that the senior management and executive have very busy schedules and they are very busy schedules. You can find actually if all what you do is to go push for the performance appraisal, for this report to be done, and we give deadlines, there's a lot of resistance because they never hardly have time to even sit down and do their appraisals with their employees. They have very busy schedules and only want to hear ideas that are high value to the organization. Whatever is giving them the headache, they can only talk to a person who is going to give them a solution. Only the people who have a very only the impactful and the high level overviews. They don't want to hear all your stories and all your problems. They want to hear, what do you think we should do in a nutshell? So consequently, it is very important to learn how to effectively communicate with the senior management to get your ideas across and to get the attention that you deserve from them. That is why we are talking about the whole topic of communication and how it is coming in. Moving forward, this is very clear. I think we have learned this over and again, but let's just refresh ourselves. What are some of the ingredients of an effective communication? And we say effective communication highlights a message that is very clear. Be very clear in your communication. Don't try to beat about the bush, using a lot of words, going round in circles. Communicate what you want to communicate. So what you say needs to be easily understood by that person. Correct. Your message must be correct. Your message should be factual and accurate, not hearsays, not opinion. You must be able to have facts with support. You remember when you were saying, when you are giving feedback, internal consulting, we actually said when you're giving your report and your feedback, you need to give some examples and facts to support your statements. So your messages must be not what you think, but they must be factual and very objective. Your communication must be complete. Your message needs to give the entire picture, not just part of it, not just the part most relevant to your motive, because there's what you want to drive, and then you only give one part of the story to avoid this other maybe negative effect of the feedback. So we only say what we want to hear. Give a complete picture. If you know there are financial implications, there are risks to it, that is why even when you're pushing a proposal, you give the entire view. That we want to impact on our business because we want to yield this number of maybe the accounts or what you want to achieve. Currently, these are the number of staff who are doing it. If we increase our staff by this number, then we are going to achieve this business goal. And of course, this comes with their risk. It comes with the financial implication. Give the entire picture of what you want to say. Then again, be precise. Brevity is the soul of business communication. Keep it short, to the point, and be precise. Your communication or your message must be reliable. It is something that can be tested and be found to be true and can be implemented without a lot of fear. So you need to establish some form of ethos to build trust with your audience, so that today you don't say this, then tomorrow when you are asked to repeat the same thing, you give a totally different story. Or you gave what you thought was the right thing, but you had not done research. And someone asks you, have you researched this and this? Have you done your budget? Have you tested this scenario? And you say, I've tested for the sake of the approval. Yet you have not tested. That someone else go and test and it's not yielding the same results. So be trusted and be reliable. Be a person who speak what they mean. And what you say is what you do. Again, be empathetic. You need to demonstrate that you understand the pain points of your audience and your business. So you want to give them solution to that so that they can be able to perform better. Because we are like the center engine. All what we want is to facilitate the whole process for it to work effectively. And the bottom line is that effective executive communications means your audience will listen to you. They will understand your message. They will seek to understand your viewpoint. That's when they give you questions. They want to interrogate your proposals and be more likely to buy into whatever you are proposing. And whenever you go for such presentation, of course, we say, make it short, precise, reliable, and complete. Ensure the information that you may not be able to put in that 2-page or slides, you have a backup of all that information. When someone asks you, did you test that? What did it yield? Did you consider this other alternative? What did you think? You have all that information and you can quickly browse through it and give, this is what we did, we tested this. That means they're giving you more time in that question and answer, probably to even tell them more of what you have done than what you had maybe just presented to them. So let's look at some of the tips. How to communicate effectively with senior managers. One, you should bear in mind that your senior managers does not want to hear about your day-to-day struggles. Instead, they want to hear ideas about how you build business values, how you want to improve the culture, how you want the organization to remain competitive and to strengthen their position in the marketplace, not your everyday struggles. Complaining and whining and struggles and how you burnt your midnight oil, the way you're not being appreciated. They want to hear ideas of how you want to impact on the business value, how you want to improve the culture so that it can facilitate their delivery of the strategy. We always say culture can eat breakfast, culture eat strategy for breakfast. I normally say it can eat your strategy for breakfast, lunch, and even dinner. When you have a wrong culture, the delivery and the achievement of that strategy is very difficult. So that is what they want to hear, that we want to cultivate a culture of high performance, of reliability, of results-oriented, of looking at all the factors. Of course, you want to hear that we want to remain this competitive in this marketplace and how to actually strengthen our position among the marketplace that we operate in, the environment, also in the industry. The number 2 thing that you need to remember is that business decisions need to be backed out by facts and data, not hearsays, not opinions, not by the road statements. Executive will be much better swayed by data because it lessens the risk of the decision because you have factored all that together. You have been able to do the risk analysis and implications and come up with mitigation measures. You have been able to look at the financial impact it will have by denting the bottom line of the organization. And they know you have already budgeted for it and you know how it will impact. And you have considered all that in terms of even the return on investment. So when you communicate with senior managers, use data and solid references to bolster your argument. The second tip, be clear, concise, and don't waste anybody's time. Use bullet points and headings to organize your thoughts. Focus and let it flow. Focus on the most important things so they'll stand out more to the senior managers. And once you do a presentation, you will have many more to do. Always take the feedback. Solicit for that feedback so that you look at improving every time you do a presentation. You are better every time that you do it. Number 4, prepare for the worst. I said you will have a lot of, don't think everybody will go and buy in, even when they have assured you. You should always prepare for the worst. There may be just one person who wants to throw the spanner into the works. So always prepare for that. Prepare for a smart strategy on how to handle objections and the criticism to your plans by working with those data which you have put somewhere and have looking at the worst case scenarios. Practice, practice, practice. Don't just wake up and it's in the day of the meeting and you can't find your notes, you can't find, and you come and say, I lost this, I had put it there, I don't know who picked from your desk. Practice, practice. Whether it means rehearsing, do enough practice. Have an army of data that is ready with you to back you up in case of any objection or criticism that comes. We are continuing very well, communicating HR policies to the organization. As we can say, I had said that change is inevitable in business, and so are the company policies and procedures. They will inevitably be updated and changed every time because of the scenarios that I talked about. And when your business policies and procedures change, then communicating this with employees is very essential to avoid possible legal and financial complications, which can be very expensive to your organization if you don't comply. So when you're communicating your policies and procedures in the workplace, it is also essential, again, to be very clear, be concise, and let your policies and procedures be in a language that is easily understood by every employee in your organization. Don't try not to use a lot of jargon, because you may be the one formulating and developing, but the users are your employees, which range from your messengers, your drivers, the support staff, to the C-suite, who are very strategic. So let it be very clear, mean what you say, be concise, and be easily understood. Your communication must be straightforward about why the change is necessary. What triggered this change? Is it because you went into a CBA negotiation and the CBA terms and conditions have changed, and now we were updating our HR policies and procedures manual so that they are able to be aligned? Because you find when you negotiate for a CBA and it is registered in court, then it becomes more reliable than even the HR policies, especially where it has given the employees better benefits and better conditions than what you have in your policies. So it is higher in the hierarchy compared to the HR policies. And you'll find, like in court, in case there is a conflict between any of your policy documents, the one that is actually softer on an employee, more beneficial and less punitive to the employees is what the court will adopt. So you must be able to clearly explain why this, or was it because of the changes of the statutes? There was an amendment of the Employment Act, like we have seen, and this has triggered our change. There was the introduction of pre-adoptive leave. There is the issue of the housing levy. There is the issue of an HIF that is coming up. So all these changes that may come, or maybe case laws that have been decided, and you see whatever your policy says is not supportive of what the president is coming, like the people on probation, you can easily terminate them without asking for any reason and giving them the due process. Then you can decide it is because of this now that we are changing these policies. So let it be known why we are changing this and what is staying the same, what steps need to be taken by employees to make sure that they comply with the new requirement, and also the documentations that follow, because you understand employees ought to sign that they have read and understood the HR policies. If there are any handbooks to be reviewed, then do that. Also spell out clearly what the consequences are for the non-compliance of those provisions that have come on board. It is very critical that we consider all that. Any questions so far? I'm just trying to look at the chat if they have any comment. The speed is okay, go on, thanks. Okay, thank you for that. So we proceed. I don't want to leave someone behind. So let's look at ways of effectively communicating HR policies at the workplace. I've talked about it on a very high level. First, we need to be transparent and very clear about these changes. Why are they coming? What do they mean to us? Because once we review our policies or any organization change, they tend to cause anxiety among the employees. And we want to ensure that all that we communicated, we want to reduce the rumors, the grapevine, the anxiety that comes. So we need to be very transparent as much as possible. If you think that you need to do circulars, memos, address this even when you're having staff meetings, that you can always, as HR, because you're the one who facilitates these meetings, take maybe the first 30 minutes of the time or the first 15 minutes to just demystify and put the staff at ease, or even probably call for such a meeting. You are able to tell them then before you even communicate in terms of the circulars. So be transparent, clear about these changes. And we say some of the ways you can do this is hold a staff meeting to communicate the policy updates. You submit in a very summarized way because you have interacted with them. You're the one who have initiated it and you understand, so that people can even ask and you allay any fears that may be among the staff. Post new workplace policies in common areas such as break rooms, if you have, where employees can easily see them and discuss them in lunch rooms. Hand out hard copies of the new policies in the form of memos or updated employees and handbooks. Of course, now with the technology, we can even send this on email. Before we were that technological survey, we could print maybe copies to every department, and then we could ask the HOD or even sensitize employees among those departments for those who are in small organization. Then, or you can put them in your intranets if you have. Then inform your employees of changes electronically through emails, intranets, a password protected section of your company website where they can be easily found. The other thing could be to provide training where necessary. More complex policies like the job evaluation and procedures changes may require more training so employees understand how changes applies to them. This is also applicable if you were to change the performance management tools, so that you need to sensitize and train all the employees so that they are able to know how to come up to derive the KPIs, the targets. They are able to navigate with the tools. So those ones we recommend that you provide training where it is necessary. And we say training may be scheduled on an ongoing or as need basis. Maybe even the department heads can call you and invite you in their meeting and say, I'm having a lot of these questions from my employees, and can we come up with maybe a morning meeting, and we invite you as a HR and you come and talk to them. Be always ready to do that and do it yourself. Actually, if you're in a position of leadership, these are some of the things we don't want to delegate. Then as a continuation, it is always good to get the feedback, hold feedback sessions, especially if you are in the development, the drafting stages. You can have what we call the validation sessions, so that with the senior managers, with maybe the focus group, so that you are able to get their feedback and you incorporate their opinions where it is practical and where it's possible. And also you look at which limitations are you working and say, is there harm, or where did you find that being implemented? And you could find it's an organization or a government organization like yours. So you say, if this is happening, because you're given some room to change this, allow for anonymous or confidential feedback so that all employees feedback feel comfortable voicing their honest opinion. Could be through surveys, could be through even what we call, some even can do the survey monkey. The other way is two-way communication is very key. It's very good and important that we remember that. Ensure that your staff are not only voicing concerns, but you're also addressing the concerns that they are being raised openly and honestly. What is doable? Tell them this is doable. What is not doable because it's out of your control and there may be other legislative limitations or organization limitation on regulations. Then you can tell them and show them where that you have been prohibited, that I would love to do this, but the provisions of SRC or that, or the public sector, or the SCAC has told us this is the first we can go. So they'll understand that you've heard them and you have also addressed them. Then have employees sign off. It's very important on a new or changes workplace policy. Ensure that there's a documentation showing that the workplace policies have been communicated to employees. Always file that evidence and place a copy of the sign-off of the HR policies and procedures manual in your individual employees' personnel file, so that an employee will not wake up one day and say, I was unaware of that policy. You didn't communicate. I know, and I'm sure you have worked in organizations where even the HR policies, they are private documents for the CEO and the HR. The employees keep on guessing and they have no copy. They don't know what is happening. But with this now changes in the environment of the employment laws, you need to be very careful with that, depending with where, because we have people who are working in private individual organization, and these are things that you need to look out for. So engaging people in conversations. What are some of the things we need to look at on a very high level? This is on social, workplace, and just any social interactions that we have. some of the things we want to remind ourselves. And we say having engaging conversation. We just don't want to have a conversation. We want to have an engaging conversation. It's a very important part of everybody's life. Everyday life, we engage in conversation. Even now, we engage in conversations. And in fact, a conversation is one of the most effective tools to get to know someone's intention. You want to get to know their need, and you need to get to know their opinion. So in every conversation you strike with your peers, with your senior managers, with your business leaders, you want to know what is their intention, what is their needs, what are their pain points, what their opinion in terms of what we should do better, and where are they coming from. So you're able to understand the position someone is coming from, and then you'll be able to understand them better. Then the other point we want to give is that a conversation is a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool that can help you position yourself as an honest, reliable, and open-minded professional employees with great ideas who are always eager to help others. It is how people experience you. So when you are engaging in a conversation, then you're able to position yourself on how you communicate, the things that you say, whether you do the things that you say, or don't be a great talker, but when it comes to the execution, you don't execute. I'm sure you have interacted with these people who can promise you heaven. When you engage with them, they'll tell you that is easy. That one is doable. I'll go and do. I was just thinking about it. But the moment you walk out of that door, God, then you'll have to go look for them and say, I forgot. So let's walk our talk. You should come across as this person, and this is an opportunity that you have been given as you engage with these other people to show and to demonstrate your credibility, your honesty, because you genuinely want to know what their needs are, and you genuinely want to know their opinion, going with it without judgment. And for sure, you want to structure your solutions to address exactly that. The other thing that we should remember, having a face-to-face conversation with your co-workers can actually help you get to know and understand each other better. Don't be this HR who locks themselves in the office and you don't work. You'll find there are some managers who are very good at walking, engaging with people. When people have social events, you are there. You can hear they are not afraid of you because you get to learn a lot and you understand people when they're cracking jokes, but you know what to say and what to say, but be there with them, which eventually might improve the quality of your work and atmosphere and at the workplace. Don't be the feared person in the workplace that you'll not even know what is going around your office or behind your back. You'll always have someone who is telling me, other people, are not happy with this policy because they'll tell you the way it is. And then you can be able to engage and you know what is happening. So a conversation where you exchange ideas and thought can also result as being able to find better solutions to common problems. Because you might be struggling with some things in HR in your organization and you think it's very unique with you. I don't know how to deal with this senior manager. I don't know how to do with my very toxic and very difficult accountant or finance person. My CEO is just making it very unbearable. So when you have this conversation, you'll be able to know, even someone will laugh at you. Oh, that is only what you're experiencing. That is very small. And you'll find people have common problems. And you can be able to brainstorm and come up with better solutions at working and also how to prevent them and maybe how to overcome those handles. So moreover, by engaging in this type of connection regularly and with people you already know, you can cultivate what you call the confidence in speaking with strangers and also publicly. That you go into a forum and you meet this is the HR and you want to go find about them. You just need to know how to do. How to engage in conversations in the workplace. That is generally in social setup in the public and the society. come back to the workplace where we work, where we said we need to work with other departments. We want to be the people that, or the glue that holds people together. We want to be the people who breaks the departmental or the silo mentality. So how do we do this as the chief collaborators and the fine thread that is going to hold that fabric in your organization? First, you must be able to be confident. Include lively opening of your conversation, radiate confidence, have energy, which may result in your coworkers seeing that you're confident and you're resourceful and you're confident about what you're actually saying. People love to discuss with reliable, self-aware professionals who have something interesting to say and who are good at what they're communicating at. Number two, need to focus on being a good listener. And anytime you're engaging in these conversations, we said you need to be getting the feedback, knowing, and to actively listen. And we'll say, of course, we'll go deeper into looking at what is good listening. What are some of the things you do? And in high level, we say engaging in a conversation is not only about talking, paying attention to what the other person has to say, it's equally important. Try to remember the needs, the comments, the ideas that others mention when talking to you and refer to them when you're speaking to them. Be a good listener. I'll not dwell much on that because it's coming. I think I'll expound on what that, and I'm sure we have also learned about it. Face-to-face conversations. Always make eye contact. Making eye contact when you're talking with someone in a workplace is a sign of professionalism. Doing this can help you position yourself as a honest, open-minded, and reliable person. You can imagine if you're speaking to a person who is busy in their computers, who is busy doing other things, calling other people and engaging, they're not even having eye contact with you, you feel like there's something they're hiding. And you feel like they're not genuine and they're not authentic. So when you have one-on-one eye contact, you're able even to observe the other person's body language, their tonation, their feelings, and they'll feel someone is listening to them. And probably, even when these people are coming to you, all what they need is someone to listen to them, to be heard. You may not even have a solution to them, but they'll be relieved that you took your time to listen to them, to understand. Tell them, I understand. Really? What? So you're engaging. What do you think they should have done better? You know, that kind of probing, and they feel you really understand and you understand their position well. The other tip, pay attention to your body language. This includes paying attention to your posture, sit upright, face to face, your face expression, the gestures, the tone of voice to create a positive atmosphere. Then your movements should also show that you are interested, engaged in the conversation, and your face should not show signs of boredom, like you're wondering, when will she finish? Tamaliza nini? By the time they finish talking, you are saying, do you have anything to say? I have a meeting that I'm rushing to. Please pay attention to your body language. And if you ever feel that you're in a hurry, that you may not be, someone has walked in your office, you're rushing into a meeting, you could always ask them, I hear you, and I'm rushing into a meeting. Would you mind if you allow me so that I can give you attention and more of my time? We can discuss this thoroughly. Allow me to finish with this, then I'll call you in 30 minutes time, or after meeting, I'll be the first person that I'll see. Is that okay with you? Then you do exactly that, so that you are not in a hurry and you are not trying. And try to ask, can it wait? So because I have, and you try to explain. The other thing that you need to do, ask questions. Asking questions, we kept on saying for you even to learn, ask. Things that you are not clear about, things that you don't understand, please learn the habit of asking questions and asking intelligent questions because you want to learn in the conversation. Remember, we want to understand the other people's intention, their concerns, their problems, their issues. So when you ask questions, ask probing questions that will enable you understand exactly that. So we are saying asking questions is the one and the best way of engaging in a conversation because it shows that you are paying attention to what the other person has to say. because you want to know their interests, their concerns, what are their issues, what are their pain points, what is their expectations of you. The other thing, we need to speak clearly. When speaking, take your time. Speak slower. Speaking slower can help you make sure everybody understands your comments and also idea. And that's why you can see I keep on probing. Are you on the same level? Am I moving so fast just to ensure that we are carrying everybody all along? Because of time, at times you might find us rushing, but it is always to keep those pauses when you realize, I think I'm rushing, let me pause and see so that I'm able to carry everyone along. At times, tell stories. You can sometimes make conversation with engaging for others by introducing your ideas in a form of a story. It could be personal stories that you're sharing. Yes, I'm challenging you to do that, but am I doing it? In what way? Then you're wondering, which other areas is she telling us to go? Do we go to engineering? Do we go to finance? Do we go to production? Do you? But I'm sure you know it is possible. I've tried it. Try to use stories, maybe analogies. I remember we were having a class last evening, and one of the presenters decided to start with a story and a song, and everybody in class, because I think he was just trying to get to the heart of the lecturer, who loves singing, and she has shared YouTube channels for where she has sung a lot of gospel story. So he tried to bring the very serious topic that we're discussing in a biblical perspective, and ended it with a story of, I think, the story of the Laban and the marriage, and then he was able to pick the conversation, and actually he was able to put the class in a very good mood. So stories help, where you are able to give that for people to visualize problems or situation and find solutions more quickly. Just a consideration, very high level points. Don't get distracted when you're speaking and when you're having conversation. When someone approaches you, consider stopping what you're doing to pay attention to their words. Verbally confirm what they asked about and write it down if it's needed. If you don't want to stop them and you want to come and just confirm, is this what you said? So don't get distracted. Give them your attention. And that is why I said, if you feel you don't have that time and you're likely to be distracted, then you can excuse yourself until you are in a position and place where you can talk to them and have that conversation, and don't delay it. Let it be prompt. Find things in common. It is usually easier to keep a conversation going if you have something in common with the person you're talking to, making sure that both care about the same thing in life and can relate to it might positively actually influence the outcome of your conversation. The other issue is approach conversations without judgment. Go without judgment. Don't judge people. Engage them. Hear them. Know their concern. Know where they're coming from. So when engaging in a conversation, it is sometimes important to agree to disagree. If someone expresses a thought that you don't agree with, be open-minded and ask them to explain it in more depth, or in a more expounded way. Doing this can help you make the other person feel heard and also appreciated. It may also result in finding a better compromise, because you're looking for a win-win situation, or ending the conversation in a positive way, that you can actually tell someone no, but they'll end up feeling relieved. Even when people exit in our organization, how do we as HR ensure that they leave the organization on a positive note? It might have been they are even leaving because of disciplinary issues. They have been terminated. But you as the HR, who could have even been sitting in this disciplinary, you need to understand these people are human. Even as they're doing their exit clearance, they're asking for the clearance certificates, which is a right to them. How do you treat them? How do you make them feel? Do you make them feel like they're unwanted? Good riddance, you've gone, and you are a HR person. Of course, they may be aggrieved. You understand their feelings. They've had a very bad encounter. This happened, but now we have come to a point where we have to separate. Please always enable them to leave feeling positive. I always say, you never know where you'll meet with these people. They may be very junior people. but you never know about your other encounters that you'll have with them in life. Let's look at some of the skills that you need to be able to engage people in such conversation. First, we said active listening. I'm not going to expand on that. Verbal communication skills, how you communicate, how you project yourself. Are you well understood? Your choice of words, from understanding your audience, using concise language that is well understood. Public speaking. There are people who have fear of speaking to multitude of people or big audience, and they are not able to face maybe people they have not interacted with. They are strangers when the room is full of people. Try. I'm sure there are even public speaking courses that are offered. There's an institution called East Africa School of Public Speaking. They normally conduct their trainings. They normally teach people how to speak from their heart, how to do PowerPoint, maybe presentations, how to have experiential learning. It could be very cheap courses and are not so much, and they can be done in the evening. So if you feel that you need public speaking skills and you have this, because there is also always that stage fright that someone may feel, you should be able to do that and improve it. Whether you're going to start by teaching in your church, giving Bible studies, the youth forums, ensure before even you go to the marketplace, you are able to have those forums. If actually you experience challenges with that, that is very normal. Allow you to feel more relaxed and comfortable when you're speaking to a large group of people, that you'll never be surprised if you're called to a forum and you find this is a room full of 500 people or 100 people. You are shown how to approach it. It is like just the way you have conversations with your friend. Take your audience like your friends that you're having a conversation with. So work, know yourself. We talked about emotional intelligence. You must be able to reflect and understand your weaknesses, your strengths, and work on them and capitalize on what you do very well or very good. And on, you must be open-minded, because we said you anticipate objections and criticism. People might even be harsh on you. You should be open-minded and ready for that. It is, don't take it personally. It is people, that is how people are socialized and how people react. So a conversation is not about a sole performance, which is why it is important that you have an open mind when engaging in one conversation at the workplace. Maybe at that point, I could also take a pause. Any questions, any additions, any reactions before we go to the next point of building trusting relations and with internal and external clients? I think so far so good. And any reactions, any comment, any contributions? You can put it on the chat. You can unmute your mic. I'm hoping you're able to unmute your mic, and you can just tell us anything. Just looking at our chat just to ensure that we are together and that we are not losing anybody. Great. I can see my chat is clear. Yes, carry on.
With me, I'm okay. I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to reference my organization in every stage of the presentation.
That is great.
Yeah, seeing maybe where we need to improve, what I can do about it, and I am benefiting a lot.
Thank you. That is very encouraging. So with that, always feel free to stop me to engage, and just that we are able to move at the same pace. So very, very fair and well done. So let's now change gears and look at how, and always speak it from personal perspective as well as the organization perspective. Let's have a mix, because first I normally tell people we are an employee before we become HR. And there is also life beyond what we do, because we want to have your own brand identity. So let's talk about building trusting relations with both the internal and external clients. In this, already we understand who are our internal clients. Our internal clients, we said, they are our employees, they are our peers, they are our senior leadership, they are the business leadership, the people that we serve, because we serve the other departments and the organization. When you talk about external clients, what is the mission of that organization? What is the purpose? Why do we exist? Who are the clientele that we serve? Are they customers? Are they consumers? Are they the public that we provide our services to, we understand them. And we said HR is moving from being an internal consultant to an outsider. We are dealing with both the internal situation, the internal stakeholders, and we are also looking at the external, and that is the future of HRBP, where we are going to look at the external stakeholders, how your organization is being felt. So how do we go about this? Some of the points that we have prepared, just to scan through there, and I don't know what I've done to my screen. We'll go with it as it comes. How we build trusting relations with internal, external client. And we say client relationship matter. And it's not just the people you serve outside your organization that you should be considering. Relationship with the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis. That is your colleague. Is very critical. Sorry, there's something I've done on my screen which is distracting me, but I'm being able to remove it. Yeah. So we are saying we look at both relationships, not that the customer who walks into your organization requiring the services or the goods of your organization that you should really be worried about. The people, your colleagues seated in the next desk, in your other department, who comes to seek your services and professional advice are your internal clients, and call the other functions, even your colleague within the HR departments. It is very important that we build that relationship with them. So relationship with internal clients, whether you work at an in-house agency, a small agency, a private firm, a public body, an international firm, or just handle work requests from other teams because maybe you are in an entry position and you are just dealing with entries, should get as much care. Give everybody the attention they deserve, regardless of their role or their rank. Serve everyone and do it your very best, to the best of your knowledge. Not because someone is senior, the other one has a more impact on your work than the other. Give everybody the attention they deserve because they have approached you. They could have gone to someone else, but they chose to come to the desk. So in the case of responding to projects or job requests from other teams and other functions in the department, we often don't think that these people are clients at all. You think like they're not generating money. Because they are not directly invoicing you for your labor, they are not paying you, you feel like you should be paying more attention to the people who brings in money. However, if you think of a client as anyone you serve, anyone who comes, whether on a pro bono service, whether they are your colleague, then that expands your client relationship on mode to everyone that you work or you interact with. So we spend more time at the workplace than at home. Maybe you ask, how many hours do you spend in your workplace? Let me hear from someone. How many hours do you spend in your workplace? How many? Depending with the organization you work with?
8 to 10.
8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10
hours.
8 hours in the workplaces. But I love, who said 8 to 10? Sorry, I had not seen. Caro said 8 to 10. I can tell you some of you even spend 12 hours in the workplace because we come at 6 and we leave early because of where we stay, allowing the ease of traffic. And I can tell you, you spend more hours than that. Reason, the moment you wake up in the morning, there are people who wake up at 4, at 5. The moment you're up like this and you're taking a shower, you're taking your breakfast, your mind is already on your work. You're remembering, where did it end with my boss? What was I supposed, which work was I left doing? How do I prioritize work? Do I have a meeting? So all your mind, as much as your spouse is talking to you, your kids are having a conversation with you, I can tell your mind is already on work mode. Calls start coming in. You need to call your employee. Did you, maybe staff who works under you, did you prepare all the files for the interview? Did you send this report? So that by the time you get to the office, that mental preparation from right when you woke up to when you get into that vehicle to get to the work. Then when you hit the road, I'm sure most of us go by road, you're already thinking, is traffic. Why do we have so much traffic? Why so congestion? Now you're upset. Kindly, there's someone who is their mic on. Cliff, please mute. You're overhearing your private conversation. Thank you. So your mind is already on a non-mode for work. You get upset. There's another motorist who has blocked you, have denied you maybe a way, or that you're already in that mode. Then 8 or some minutes to 8, you're in the office. Your 8 hours now starts from there. You've already spent like 2 hours or 1 hour thinking about your organization, your employer, your work. Then 8 hours, you are within that workplace. By the time you leave, you're already thinking about going home, but you're also thinking, I was not able to finish that assignment. Tomorrow I need to call this client. Tomorrow I need. So you are still thinking about work. You are annoyed because you got late to go pick your children from school. Your husband got home or your wife before you. You needed to pick this on your way home and all that. And you're getting so annoyed all in that, or you need to go meet this client, all that. So you spend a lot of time. So here, we're looking at trying to make your life as easy and bearable as possible at your workplace, because you spend a lot of time, even before you go to sleep. How many of us have actually gone to sleep and you dream that you're working? By the time you wake up in the morning, during the night, in your dreams, you already completed that assignment and submitted, and everybody was happy. Only to wake up and to the real realization that was just a mere dream. You have not even started the assignment. It happens. So what you are saying here, basically, we spend more time at work than we ever spend with our loved ones and our at home. Because even by the time we go home, we just catch up with the family, make dinner, have our dinner, freshen, and all that. And most of the time, another 8-7 hours, we are asleep. So a lot of our active time is at the workplace. So managing your relationship at the workplace should be a real focus. The same effort we put into our family should also be put to our workplaces. Building, it is how you experience that workplace. Building trusting relations will make us happier. It will make us more engaged. You'll be looking forward to coming to the workplace, and you are more productive at work. That is why building, trusting, and good positive relationship in the workplace, it's that important. Sorry, my screen is having issues. Just give me a minute, I address it. I'm sure you cannot see my screen at this moment, are you? Guys, are you able to see my screen? Is misbehaving?
Mwalimu, we can see your screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Slide mode.
We can see the screen, but you need to slide share.
Yes.
And if possible, remove the pointer.
That is the biggest. How do I go about that then?
I don't know.
I have
on your window.
Yes.
There
I think I've managed.
Yes. Yes,
great.
indeed.
Thank you. That's what we call reverse mentorship. I'm happy to have you guys. Thank you. So let's see now if the slides will behave. Building trust. Let's go how we had reached there. So we are still continuing on how we build trust with internal and external clients. And I'll just on a high level, I'm just giving you tips. And these tips are not exhaustive. They're just what Rhoda was thinking about when preparing for this presentation. You can think of many more. I can see someone who has posted on the chat something to do with the confidentiality and said how to balance confidential conversation and grapevine and how to keep boundaries, very important for HR, so that you stick what is, when you come to the workplace, try to stick as much as possible what is related to work, what is professional, not your private work. Don't try to mix the two. You just want to build and ensuring that we have a conducive, positive environment that when we come to the workplace, we are able to enjoy our stay there. We want to be engaged. We want to show results. That is very important, Caroline, and we always forget. Don't mix work and private life. Leave the private life to your private. Don't go bragging about how many kids you have, how many are, and ensure whatever you only share this with relevant people that you feel comfortable and when needs arises, but not everything that you know like an open book. That's very essential. The first tip on building a productive client relationship will include building trust. Trust is key. We say trust is the foundation of communication, of influence, and how we work with the other people. Because if someone doesn't trust you, they'll not even come up and have a conversation with you because they don't trust. I'm sure even as we have friends who you cannot even tell anything that is confidential because it will be all over her friends and people will be just walking. You'll be just a walking skeleton every time you pass. So we need to build trust that we can be reliable people. So client trust will come when you're willing to admit and take responsibilities for your mistakes and for your weaknesses. When you follow through what you have said that you will do, what you promise, you also deliver. Don't find yourself over-promising something and under-delivering. Please walk your talk. What you say you can do, please do for your both internal clients and your external client. If you know clearly you will not be able to do this or you are not able to do this, please say as much and ask for support or maybe more time. When you agree on a particular deadline, please keep your word. If you know you are not able to come at that time, please apologize, ask for more time, and agree. People will feel like you respect them. So when you are vulnerable in admitting that you don't know and you're asking for help when you need it, people trust you more. Don't pretend that you know everything and you can navigate everything when you don't know. If you don't know, just admit. If you have made a mistake, admit and try to rectify it. Ask for another chance. Show respect to get respect. One thing that I emphasized yesterday, always show the other people respect. And one thing I always tell people, never stripe off someone their whole human dignity. Whoever you are interacting with, be it a support staff, a messenger with no education, the only difference between you and them is maybe because you came from a privileged family who are able to take you to school at an early age and you are able to be educated and you are able to get a job and you are able to move your career ladder faster than them. Some of them were even struggling to put on the table. So even education was not a priority. So you ended up becoming the chief people's officer, the chief manager, the HR director, because you had the opportunity to go to school and get work opportunities. They didn't have the same laxity. Understand whoever you're meeting with, whether it is that cleaner who cleans your desk when you come in the morning. That cleaner is someone's sibling, a daughter of someone, someone's spouse, and someone's brother and sister. They are human as you. Never strive anybody in your interaction their core dignity. So for you, we say respect begets you respect. If you don't show other people respect, then you should not expect them to respect you. We see this even in our lives at home. The moment you think you can be shouting to your kids, especially the teenagers, they will talk back to you. It is an eye for an eye. So respect people's space, respect people's opinion, then they can also respect. So you must give for you to receive. So people feel respected when their ideas are listened to, when they feel that you value them. And it is not just about nodding so that you appear like you are listening and looking at them in their eyes, because probably you're not even looking at them. You are staring at them when they are speaking. So take notes where it is possible and where it's practical. Show that you are considering their input and you are taking them seriously. Treat everyone with the same demeanor, no matter their team, which function they are coming, their department, or their rank in society or even in the organization. So show respect to beget respect. The other issue is you try to balance the input. So according to a research that has been done by Google, teams actually perform best when with the most even amount of input from all the members. You'll find even in any group discussions or team, there are people who are very vocal. There are people who will overshadow the others. Then we also have a group of team who will just stare at you, look at you, keep quiet. Maybe they feel intimidated, they are not speaking. So for you, it is always every now and then to try to balance with the people who keep quiet. That is why, please don't take offense if you see me going to the participants and calling out your name. I understand majority of us are in the workplace, we are multitasking, probably you're in another meeting, you're on mute, you're unable to, I understand all those factors. But all what we are trying to do is trying to balance the input and the conversation. So if someone is being quiet, you could ask them what they are thinking. You don't have to ask them maybe a question on what you have taught because they may have missed. But what is their thought on it? What is the application in practical? If someone is talking too much, you can invite others to chime in because you want to balance this input. Being asked for input makes your colleagues feel valued, and they also feel part of this, what we were calling yesterday, the ideation process. Ideation process is where we said we brainstorm, we pick various ideas, we hear people's ideas and we collect all that, then we go and analyze and we have all that input. So these are just basically tips that we thought about. And I've done it again. Okay, we are back. So that balancing of the input is because my slides are refusing to move. As a continuation, you must also be serious about feedback. When you promise your client or the person that you are dealing with that you're going to get back to them, please get back to them. If there is any feedback that someone is expecting from, please give it to them. And at times, it is always good when you talked about personal reflection. At times, you might get feedback, not always positive, but you can also get negative feedback. Take that feedback that you get from your clients and from your people and how you interact with them very seriously. Don't take it personal. See what you'll pick from the feedback and what is not relevant. See the areas that you can improve. For me, I'll take it. They cared enough to come back to you to tell us what they think. Of course, at times you may not get that feedback from the people because they may be fearing what will be the Rhoda's reaction. How will she take the feedback? So we also need to intentionally be proactive in seeking this feedback. Ask people questions. Ask whether they understood. Ask what they need. You need to do probably to improve what you are doing next time. So be serious about what you receive as feedback and also be proactive in seeking that feedback from the people. They'll tell you because they care, and they'll also see that you're interested in getting the feedback. The other pointer we can give, create open lines of communication. Keep your colleagues informed of given project status, that when you start a project, you tell them we are at the initiation stages, then we are moving from this. Especially, let's say you're doing a consultancy, you want to do a culture change, an organizational review. There's that stage we said, breaking the ice, the initiation. You tell them, we have this consultant on board, send a circular, and they are going, this is the scope of work is 1, 2, 3. When you go into the data collection, now you want to have focus groups, questionnaires, maybe the interviews. Keep your people updated. Now we are at this phase of the project, and what we expect to get from this is this and this, which we'll use this data to do that. So if it looks like a deadline, we'll sleep. Let's say you are working on a project with people again, or you have been given a particular task, you see that this is not feasible. It is not practical because we didn't anticipate there's so many challenges that we are experiencing, or maybe we are not able to move as fast or as prompt as we want. So we need to have that communication, and you keep people knowing what is the current. Carol, kindly mute. Carol, your mic is on. Kindly mute. What is if this is not workable, Do we have an alternative plan, or what we call a plan B? So the saying that it is better to ask for forgiveness than permission doesn't hold water here. You might say, I don't want to admit that I failed, and I don't want to ask permission to delay or to extend the deadline. Let me just be late and I'll ask for forgiveness. Here it doesn't hold. Tell people in advance, I think we are going to run late in this project, so we are asking an extension of one more time. So probe the other. Create that open communication. Communicate when you're having the challenges. Ask for help if you need any help. The other point we say, be committed to avoiding actions that damage relations. We have talked about anything that is unethical. We've talked about it is Carol who has mentioned about the grapevine, the gossips that are very juicy in the workplace. Please don't be part of the rumor millers in the organization. That if you want to know what is this happening, who fought with their spouse, go and ask Carol, go and ask Rhoda. Please, as a HR professional, always stay away from gossips, the grapevines. Please don't, in the midst of the people who are always whining and complaining about the organization. You are an influencer and people are looking at you. Whatever you do, people are likely, you're in a position of influence. So be the role model that people would want to look at. Of course, it doesn't mean that you're happy with all the activities that are happening in the workplace. Some, they may even be directly affecting you. But you have to walk on a higher road than any other person. So asking for people's input will be a matter. People's input won't matter if you consistently miss deadline. Be known for the right thing. No one will want to give you their input if you keep on yelling at them in the meeting. Avoid gossiping, complaining, or you'll never build trust no matter how hard you try to work. You'll be wondering how comes people are not giving you the input. Again, looking at connecting HR department, we said at the core heart of what we do, we should be partnering with other departments. So how do we connect this HR department we are with the other departmental heads? Some of you will tell me that the other departments are very uncooperative. They are very rude. They think they are core than the others. But what we are preaching today, we are here to enable the achievement of the business targets, the business goals, to facilitate, to serve the business, the purpose and the mission and the mandate. So that tells you we don't have a choice, but we have to work very closely and very collaboratively with the other departments. It is not a matter of choice if actually we want to be strategic HR. So how do we go about this as HR professional? We say, and you can imagine, I said, we have a privileged position of having the bird's eye view when we are connecting with the other department, because we recruit up to the exit and we can see how strategies are being formulated, they are being implemented and how they are evaluated. So we are in a more advantaged position. So we say HR and departments make up the heart of every successful organization because we are at the center. We are the human capital, the human assets that controls the organization and drives the strategy, the assets that we have, the financial and the systems we have, they are all being driven by the human asset we have in terms of the human capital, who are people, who are employees. So an effective HR department makes a significant contribution to the success or the failure of any organization. And by working closely with the other department, we ensure that the workforce is fully utilized, optimization, and that organization goals are actually met. And where we have performance gap, then we come up with mitigation measures and interventions through the various activities of HR so that then we are able to achieve the organization goals. And some of the ways in which HR add value to the other functions or other departments or other organs of the organization will include in terms of we carry out administrative services, don't we? We do the payroll administration, any activity that we do that has administration in it. Payroll administration, personnel administration, records administration, administration in terms of the cleanliness, the teas, the logistics, how people are working in a safe environment, all those administrative, even medical and welfare, they are all administrative services. Of course, we also, as experts, provide what we call the professional advice. We are an advisory and a consultant arm of the organization, meeting recruitment needs of the organization in a timely manner. And we say in a timely manner because why we go for recruitment, it is because the business have expressed a need in terms of workforce, that for them to be able to meet these targets, they need additional hands and additional manpower who are competent, having the right people at the right time with the right competencies. So in meeting those demands of the business in a very professional, objective, competency-based and a timely manner, then that is how we impact on the organization. We also work with issues of motivation and staff engagement, because we said it's a very tough balance to balance the employee motivation and satisfaction and engagement, and also ensure that there is productivity and performance. So we want people to perform, to be more productive, but we remember there are also people with needs. So we want them to have that positive experience. We want them to be motivated, and we want them to be engaged, because we said a happy and a motivated and an engaged employee is likely to be more productive. Then we are also the people who provide learning solution, capacity building and development solution to be able to close any performance gaps that we come across when you're doing our trainings and analysis. Also, we also want to be in a position where we help employees to develop as individual. You remember, we have what we call personal and individual goals. What I aspire to become and to be as a person, as Rhoda. And also, there is the organizational goal. So how do we balance the two so that we ensure that the employees through the career progression are able to develop themselves and achieve the personal goals as at the same time being able to achieve the organization goals? Because once an individual employees perform, then the entire organization performs. And in return, HR has legitimate expectations. Once we are able to give all that, our legitimate expectations, we want to see employees who are productive, who are performing. We want to see as HR, we are making an impact to the business, and the business is meeting its objectives, its goal, and it's fulfilling its mandate and also the mission why they exist. And then we can say that we are happy HR once our expectations are met. We continue. So in terms of connecting HR department with our department as a continuation, we say this is the cross-functional collaboration that we are talking about, which is very essential for today's multi-layered organization. Of 10 different departments have little to no alignment with the next, because people operate in what we call departmental silo mentality. Everybody thinks they are more important than the other department. And a few employees have thorough view of the organizational overall goals and the bigger picture as a whole, but HR we have. So to remedy this, we say HR teams and department heads need to facilitate and encourage communications to be able to achieve what we call the cross-functional collaboration within the organization. We said organization work as a structure, and we use the analogy of a human body that has the head, the arms, the legs, and the body, and the torso, and all that. So, and we said when one structure, one system, or one part of the body is not functional, or it has pain, and it is not, it's ailing, it affects the whole system. So for us to be successful as an organization, we are looking at the whole organization structures, all functions, and all the systems working in synergy and in a synchronized manner. So that is why you find cross-functional collaborations occur when employees from different departments or with different skills, different understanding and work, they work all together. And most employers at this point, what they're looking at having a workforce that is agile workforce. Employees who are ready and they are equipped to work in any department, in any part of the organization at any time. And that is why you can see big organizations that like then kindly use. Dennis, your mic is on and you're getting some distractions. Thank you for that. So organizations are breaking what we call the departmental walls that have been put, and they have decided to come up with work task force and champions and what they call the tribes. That any activity, Dennis, kindly. I don't know whether I'm able to mute him. We're having some distractions from him. Let me see. Then if you can do that kindly, you can mute him. I don't have the host rights. So they will break the traditional departmental wall saying, I work in this department, I work in this department. And they organize teams in terms of project-based teams and tribes. So that if there's a project that has to be done, it's job evaluation, it is done by people who've been picked from a different department. They come up with a task force called a tribe, or a group or a task force to run with those activities, so that we have people who are agile, cross-functional, and we are able to break those walls, those hazards. And this is how we are seeing HR creating centers of HR business partnership, so that you can even start simple by structuring your department that if you're 6 in an HR department or you're 10 of you, are you able to adapt in difference of performance management, getting the issues and the welfare issues that are coming in a department? Like you have people who are adapting different departments that I say anything to do with finance, Rhoda is our contact person in HR, and she's able to know all the issues. And if you're having challenges, then you can even look at the person in HR who get along with those departments and you partner yourself so that we break those. There is always a connection. Team building activities, there are activities, whether they are meeting, there is a HR presence in terms of course, there will be some resistance, but you do it in a very subtle way so that you are always able to know what is happening in that department. Again, we are looking at offering team building activities to break those functional and walls that have been raised. We also want people to participate in cross-functional task forces that I've spoken about, then attendance of departmental meeting of other functions, to just have a feel of how employees feel, what is in the mind of that department in that week, what is bothering them, and then coming up with solution from HR that you think can support these people to achieve what they are looking at. How we facilitate management teams, we are almost at the tail end. We are not so far from finishing. I think we are moving quite well. When you look at how we do the facilitation of the management teams, where we sit at HR, you will find we facilitate a lot of logistic activities when it comes to meeting, because HR also deal with administration. So the meeting rooms, the team building, the strategic planning, the transport, town hall meetings, maybe quarterly meetings of the CEO, meet the people to our organization, or issues of compensation, they are all done by HR. But I don't want you to mistake me here where we say we facilitate. HR, you should intentionally desist and fight from being viewed as flower girls if you are ladies and flower boys in the organization. You are there as a strategic partner sitting at the table like the others where decisions are being made. And I always give a very hilarious example. Even when we pack our bags and we're going for a 2 weeks, 1 week retreat to Naivasha, to Mombasa, to wherever, to Nanyuki for strategic planning, HR is there. But what is the whole of HR in this? HR, you should go as a strategic partner and in discussion and participate. When all the other functions are coming with their and deriving their strategic functional objectives, they are making decisions, they are analyzing the financials and the budgets and their sharing of budget. HR should be there at the center. What I mean by flower girls and boys and escorts and receptionists, we are not there chiefly to know that everybody has been ferried. Yes, that we can delegate, we have people, and that sure that is all done. But is that not your core role? Your core role is to go into the heart of the discussion. Your core role is not the one to go and do the registration of people who are coming, who are booked in the rooms, who is sitting where, who is sleeping in which room, and who is doing that. Very supportive role. Your role is not when they are discussing the financials and the core business. Hapo ndio naenda uangalie kama chakula iko tayari. That is why we have PAs, executive assistant, who can do those roles, secretarial and the legwork. You are here as an equal partner in the heart of the discussion, and you are contributing, so you cannot even afford to waste time doing those other activities when you're supposed to be discussing, like in your other core departments. I'm saying core in quotes. So when you sit in that table, what is it that we are discussing? What are you bringing on the table? How impactful is it? And always ensure, when you remain in that table, it will remain clear that HR is so clear, it is so critical that even we need a strategic objective on learning and development, on human capital. That when even you're struggling in budgets, it is not your budget, it's your institution's budget and the people's. You don't even struggle to justify and to cough your heart out why you need to be allocated this recruitment budget, because your interest is not how many relatives you're going to bring and the number of people you have reporting to you. You know, I'm recruiting for you, and you can always stop and smile and say, because you understand the business language and the acumen. Yesterday, I gave a scenario of, let's say you have a growth budget for those who deals with numbers. You need to grow this book from this number to this number. We gave a figure of about 17 billion to about 34. Currently, we say they have 10 employees who are able to generate a growth of a particular figure of maybe 17 billion. But your strategic plan for the next 3-5 years gave an indication that the strategic and the blueprints of this organization, we need to move from a figure of 17 to 34. We gave that as hypothetical case. And we say the 10 people we have can only deliver 10. If we add another 10, they'll deliver another, the 10 we can only deliver 17. If we give you another 10, working at an optimal level, they'll give you the 34, the double figure you want. So even when you go for the budget for recruitment, because your budget now is bulging, it is not based that I want to control the biggest budget. It is the needs of the business, not the HR. And you are the one who is demonstrating, if I get this budget of recruitment, then we'll be able to move our book from 17 billion to 34 billion. There is nobody who will be challenging your budgets and the figure. You say, Rhoda, you can park your recruitment, because you are very clear. If you're not able to get these people by next year, by January, then you'll also expect the very core department that is supposed to drive that figure, we will not be able to drive it because they don't have the manpower. That is the discussion. So as much as people want to object and criticize the budget now you are responding to the business needs. And you're not even there to fight. You have just straight bare the picture that I will assist you in generating this when we do this. So you don't get the budget allocation. That means even the center will not hold. So you can see how you are directly impacting into that. And then you say, once they come on board, we'll spend the first 1 month doing onboarding, doing induction by all the line managers, the core department. We want to spend a whole week with these people so that they are thoroughly trained. By end of the month, by February, they are hitting the ground and running, and the numbers coming to trigger in. So when that core department is coming to show their figures, now we were able to achieve that. If we surpassed our targets, you were part of that. You directly influenced and impacted on that. That is what we are looking at. So we said, when we go to facilitation, I want us to look at it from those lenses, not the very administrative. Of course, you'll see other loose terms as you see team building, enjoy, but look at it from that holistic perspective. So the first, we say the key roles of HR in organization for motivating and facilitating high performance teams at the management level. Here, the management team. One, we want to have the selecting the right pool and facilitating team cohesion. You can imagine if that is the lenses and the perspective you're approaching your HR activities from, you will not struggle when you say we need to have the specs for this job and the right JD so that we are able to attract the right people. Facilitating the cohesiveness. It is even this core head of department who will be looking for you because they want the right talent. They don't want anybody that HR anawezaenda tu kuleta their relatives, anaweza leta any other person. They want to know the right pool that you're going to bring talent. It is what will meet their business goals. So it becomes easy for you how you build the cohesiveness because you are adding value to them. They will listen. By recruiting the right mix and the composition of teams for varied responsibility, the HR teams contribute to setting up a high-performance teams with the optimum skills and knowledge and expertise. And even the other departments will be, rather we want you to do for us, Carol, we want you to do for us what you did in the other departments. That's why they were able to achieve. Of course, they recognize because of the collaboration, the support we got from HR, we've been able to get this. Resolution of conflicts. Every place where we are in a workplace where people work together and their teams, conflicts will always arise for various reasons. And we say conflicts can stimulate prosperity and growth for an organization when they are actually addressed positively and constructively. We should always see conflict to have the double edge. It's a double edge, we can say. If you look at it from the silver lining, it can be a way of stimulating because we learn the lessons we learn and we do things better, especially when we address them positively, objectively, and also constructively. It's not always a bad thing. So it is, the onus is on us, the HR team, to assist in terms of the conflict resolution by implementing a proper policy framework in terms of how we implement our policies, how we enforce disciplinary mechanisms, and most importantly, understanding the differences in the working style of individuals, members of the group, be the leadership style, the management style. We need to really understand. And by understanding individual differences and also the compatibility, then we are able to know how we structure our teams. The members of the team will learn to cooperate and to work harmoniously and by ignoring the difference, because we look at each other as a diverse team with different strengths and weaknesses, and then we can harvest and capitalize the strengths that we have and try to support the weaknesses that we actually see. Actually, the other thing that will come up, we want to foster collaboration as HR. So HR function can facilitate and foster collaboration among team members by implementing what we call the best practices and bringing together the diverse competencies that we have so that we can be able to achieve the goals that we have. And just as a continuation, how we communicate. We can foster this collaboration through communication, and we say having open lines of communication, setting up transparent mechanism and different channels of communication so that we can be able to have a two-way communication, that we can communicate the policies and the changes and the expectations of the management. And then there's also another channel where employees can be able to give their feedbacks. So we are saying effective communication and free flow of exchange of ideas is the hallmark of high performance teams. And by setting up a transparency a transparent mechanism and encouraging openness as well as flexibility in the organizational culture, then HR, who is a custodian of the organization culture, can actually help the teams members to work together collaboratively for achieving synergy in results, and to continue training of teams, capacity building. When we are at the heart of the business, we are able to see the weaknesses in our structures, in our teams, and we are also able to come up with the training needs. Once we are able to articulate the training needs which are linked to how people perform, because we can see they are not performing at the expected level, so that means we have performance gaps. So when we come up with different intervention, one of them being trained, and training that is very intentional. We want to build knowledge, we need to build capacity, we want to skill our people so that once we train people, then we expect them to behave in a particular way and to achieve a particular report. So we say HR department, where the training role sits, have a key role to play in upskilling and strengthening the competencies of the team members, both in a personal level, in terms of personal level, we talk about the soft skills, emotional intelligence, teamwork, how to socialize with people, how to be proactive, how to take feedback, all that together with the technical hard skills that are required to do a particular job for improving opportunities for their career growth and also developing high performance organization. Then we facilitate in terms of the management and working for the achievement of the business goal. The other point is building the appropriate reward and sanction framework, that we are able to reward and recognize behaviors that we want repeated and replicated. So we must be able to come up with those policies, we implement them. And then working closely with the reward and recognition are the sanction. We must come up with sanctions to deter people from the undesirable behavior so that people can live their values and can act as per the policies of the place. So we must be able to reward positive behaviors that we want repeated. So HR is responsible for planning, for implementing an appropriate reward and recognition strategy for motivating high performance individuals as well as teams. And then the HR also has the role as a business partner advisor and as a strategic discipline. HR business partnership is what is surrounding all that, and that's why we are learning about this. Then the other whole role we have, we said we want to be making decisions and communicate and give solutions that are data-backed, that are supported by concrete data that have been researched, have been tested. We have come up with different options, alternatives, which we have tested. We have looked at the financial, the risk mitigations. So as a HR, we must also get comfortable with using what we call the HR analytics, the HR metrics, which we are able to show how we progress and how we are performing and how we are impacting on the business. So the role of HR in metrics development of key performance indicator, even for the other functions, measuring or accurately of these measurements targets that we come up, and then having a very robust and working performance management system is a sure way to ensure that we are carrying out this role as HR. I think those are the tips that I wanted, and now I'll take a break just to read the comments. I can see we have some 4 comments on the chat to just ensure that we are moving together before then we come down to what we want to talk about, communication and influence. We want to talk about how we do the active listening, and I can assure you we're almost at the tail end, but just to ensure if there are questions, areas of concern, let me look at the charts. I could see 4 charts. One of them is from Carol: to add value, we need to keep reading a lot to be professional advisors. Self-capacity building is the challenge of sound knowledgeable, relevant. What is your advice? Carol, you are on point. For you to be able to add any value to your organization, we should be very proactive in personal development, educating ourselves, going back to school, even our selection of the courses that we want to grow in HR becomes very key. You must first work. You cannot give what you don't have. Key is to work on yourself, develop yourself so that you can be able to also influence. And you'll find practically in our workplaces, our employers will not be in a position to give us all the knowledge and all the training that we desire. Because remember, we also have our personal passion. What is it that you want to see yourself growing? Do you want to become a HR director? Do you want to become a CEO? Do you want to become a HR guru? Do you want to become a consultant? Do you want to become a sought-after trainer? So you know what you want. And at times, and most of the times, your organization will not have the resources to sponsor you for all those trainings. You'll have to do it yourself. And I can tell you, out of the people in this class, I'm sure more than half of your people have sponsored themselves for this training. So you must proactive, and learning never comes to an end. Actually, I'll tell you, you'll stop growing when you stop learning. Grow yourself, invest in yourself. Choose the areas you want to invest yourself. Put aside a budget of personal growth and personal development. Go out of your way, out of your comfort zone, out of your work, to personally work on yourself as a brand. You remember, I don't know whether it's today or yesterday that I challenged you. Beside your position, your organizational position and role, where you are the CEO, you are the head of department, you are the HR director, who are you? What does your brand talks about you? If you are stripped of that, a lot of people have lost their job with COVID. Who are they? Do you move from this high-flying HR to now just becoming, because now I'm not working, I'm not going to work, now I'm a mama boy, or I'm a baba boy. I'm no longer coming home with that and with that newspapers, the 3 newspapers that I used to carry every morning. What are your neighbors saying about you? Personal growth is very key. Never stop learning. If you feel, and actually even the environment is changing very fast. Before you know it, look at how many people are doing CHRP. I think about 1,500 people were sitting for exams or they are registering. So the environment will become populated, but you need to stand out. You need to look at what is your area and carve out your niche and personally and intentionally develop yourself. I always say you cannot give what you don't have. Build yourself, make yourself a brand, then start sharing with the others. That is very critical, Carol, and I cannot agree with you more than what you have said. There's nothing more to guide about that. Do. Even I speak to you, as I can tell you, for especially the people who are young, start it early. When probably you don't have a lot of things that are putting you down in life, kids going to school and all that. Some of us probably we have woken up late in life. For you to go back, I can tell you I'm one of the people who have gone back to do an undergraduate course at the age of, let me not tell you my age, when we are in our already largely in the middle of our 4th floor. And you can imagine even in the class and the people we are with, there are people who are age mates of our sons and daughters. They are your daughters and your ages. We are sitting in the same forum, in the same class. These are the people you're dealing with. But you're able to be humble enough to be able to do that because I know what I'm looking for. Of course, I've already been in the industry for 2 centuries. I know what I have. I know what, but I want now to go further. So for them, probably they're coming at a point of, they just come from Form 4 and they want to learn about this field. But for me, now I want to have a mix of what I have gathered for over 20 years and then have a tweak, substitute, and you can see what it is likely to do. So it is never too late. And I can tell you in my class, as you can say, you may laugh at me, we have people who are even retired, very experienced professors and doctors at their age of 58, 68, and we are sitting in the same forum, some almost sitting with their grandchildren, but we are okay with it because we understand learning is continuous. And we keep on growing ourselves. So for that, Carol, I totally agree with you. Let me look for the other comments. That was just from Carol. I've also seen, thank you, Carol. I think I've addressed that. The other comment is there one combined certificate for the 6 courses. That also from Carol, yes. Probably then if he'll be around, he'll address this. If you're able to do all the 6, I think there are 8 modules actually. There are 8 modules to what we call the Certified HR Business Partnership. These are 6 part of them. And if you follow up with the academy and you're able to complete all the 8, of course, there is a certification which we call Certified Human Resource Business Partnership for that. For Gershon, for me who missed the first session yesterday, can I pay and download the presentation? Will I get a certificate if you pay? That happens. Because all what we are doing, like what we are learning, there's nothing you're going to miss. This was recorded, it's on video. Once you pay, you'll go through, you interact, you'll hear all what you said. Once you complete the course, of course, you'll have the certification for that. Not the certification, you'll have a certificate of attendance for that. But for you to become a more certified, certification is you get a credential that you can use. You become a CHRBP, the way we are calling ourselves CHRBP Roda Wairioko. Then after your name, you can use the other certifications like CHRM, CHRBP, the many cocktail of certifications that the academy have. Of course, this certification course, they're being run concurrently and also in collaboration with IHRM. But the academy is the certifying body. So you'll also find some of the, sometimes that IHRM will offer the same certification course the academy is offering. And at that point, again, once they give us the attendance register and they'll give you the certificate of completion, but the ACHRP as the academy who owns those patented rights for the certification of the course, they will certify you for that. So that's a good break. So that we are able to balance and having addressed those concerns. Anybody who wanted to unmute and maybe ask a question as we go to the tail end of the presentation, which is basically about effective communication, will dwell much into what I was calling the active listening, influencing techniques, and building harmonious relationship and trust, and then we'll come to the end. So I'm not worried about time. I think we are almost there. So, or probably, let me finish with this presentation because there are just a few slides, then we can have an interactive session of Q&A, and then we can address all the issues for the flow. So, with their permission, I proceed to communication and influencing. And mostly, as you'll say, we are now going downhill and we are just about to complete. So about effective communication is important to influence people. And we want to use communication as a tool to influence people because it is about how information is sent and it is received between the people. How you send out the information as the person who is communicating and how the recipient, your client, your senior leadership receive that information, it is actually the center of influence and also trust coming. So we want to be received, to be heard in the right way for us to have an impact on the people that we are communicating to. And we want to build trust and reliability and credibility because we don't take communication as one-time event. It is something that has a ripple effect and it's likely to affect how we communicate in future, how people perceive us, and how we position ourselves. So it is crucial for working successfully with other people. It also enables to maintain relationship. Is what we are entering, the encounter we have today, we also want to maintain that future relationship, to build on what we have started and more maybe also to transact other businesses. It also allows us to accomplish tasks while working with both individual, it could be one-on-one, and also when we are working as group, because we are looking at our organization as a structure with different arms and organs and groups, and also team. It could be groups in terms of a department, it could be teams in terms of a task force. Then effective communication, it motivates both parties, because the person who is sending the communication and who is communicating, they also get the satisfaction that they impacted, I was heard, and we communicated. There's a flow of that communication. The person who is receiving information again also feel motivated, because they can see there's a meeting of mind. It is just about the meeting of mind and being at the same level. Effective communication, it also helps to overcome any obstacles that may arise. You can know since we began this presentation, we have encountered various obstacles on the way. Probably at first, I was not sure whether you are hearing me, but you confirmed, and I was happy I was able to proceed. At some point, I click an annotation. I was able not to move my slides, and I confirmed, I got the feedback, and we were able to flow. So it will help you when you have an effective communication, you are able to overcome the obstacles that comes along the way, because obstacles, criticism, objections, different opinions are part and parcel of the process of communication. It is also through effective communication that we create a comfortable, a trustful, and a psychologically safe feeling, that we feel we can share and exchange information and give our information flow freely without feeling unsafe, like we are judged. So we are in that psychologically trustful, comfortable, and also psychological environment. And listening to build influence. And we said we must listen. Active listening. And it's through listening, and not just listening, but active listening, that we are able to build influence. So in the following slide, it will be more of pictorial, because I want you to remember in short, precise points and in bullet. So what you're saying here, so what has listening got to do with building influence? I've explained that when there is active listening, then you are likely to build influence and to build relationship and collaborations for the future. We are saying listening, especially active listening, is crucial to influence others, because active listening helps you to, first, you are able to look at the person who is talking. And ask if you actually cause for someone's attention, and then they give you their attention and they look at you, you actually feel comfortable. So listening helps you, because you have to listen. You want to observe the body language. You look at the person who is talking, and you are able to connect. That looking and face and the eye contact, it's a way to connect with the other person, because you can see where they are coming from. You can see the voice. You can see whether they are angry, whether they are agitated. You can see whether it has caused them a lot of pain. You can see them, even that tempo changing and the reaction changing as they narrate, because we say some people just want to be heard. Because we say active listening and being heard sorts the problem by 50%. The second point we want to say, you should be able, when you're actively listening, to appear deeply interested in what the other person is talking about. Again, when you're actively listening, you also tend to lean towards that person, so that you're not sitting with your folded hand and uptight, sema umalize, tumalizane na hii. You are like, you lean towards the person so that you give them attention and you appear more receptive. The other thing, to just confirm that you are the same level and that you understand it and you receive them the way they have explained themselves, keep on asking questions, probing questions, so that you're sure whatever they say, it is what you have received. The other issue, you should always try to avoid interrupting the other person as they are speaking. Give them their time. Wait until they finish telling you what their side of the story, then you can join in, nod, Then you ask them, you could maybe rephrase what they said so that they feel understood. So avoid interrupting the other person. The other point and tip is get more information by questioning, probing further. What did you mean by said this and this? The other point is stick to the speaker's subject. That is why even in our trainings and even our conversation and even the way we say you do your board presentation in one page that is well structured, introduction, what you want to say, we always say probably tell them what you want to tell them, then go tell them the entire story, then in conclusion come and confirm that you repeat what you told them. Tell them what you want to tell them, then tell them the whole story, then come and just repeat what you told them. So that way you are able to stick to the speaker's subject. What they came to tell, the issues they have raised, it is the core of the subject matter so that you don't bring other irrelevant things that are not at the heart of the discussion. The other issue, and we said business partners or the business leaders are concerned on the value you're adding to them and what is of concern and of interest on them. They're not interested about your whining, your complaining, your personal view, and the challenges you're experiencing. They want to hear the solution. The other issue, use speakers' word to get your point across. Verbatim. You said this. Don't use your own word. You try as much as possible to repeat the same word so that you communicate the same thing. So again, let's look at more information about what active listening is all about. And we say that most important aspects of communication is listening. If you want to be able to influence other people, then you have to be able to listen and listen actively. And we say active listening is essential to influencing those around you. Listening well can help to understand the needs of others and to help influence them. Listening is important as it helps us obtain the information. You remember with what we asked at the beginning? Why is it important for us to listen properly and to have communication? You want to know what is in the mind of the other people. What are they interested? What are the issues? And what are their thoughts? It's like you are harvesting people's thoughts. So when you have active listening, you are able to obtain a lot of information. You are coming with open-mindedness, so you are able to understand their interest, their opinion, where they are coming from, their line of thought. So then when you respond, you're going to respond from a more advantaged position. The other issue, you are able to understand with more clarity. The other thing that you are able to enjoy, the conversation, because you have allowed them to speak right from the beginning, hear them, see the moods change, the tonation, how they're moving. You could see the relief. And probably because you are indulged in the conversation, you also enjoy having the talk. And then in that active listening, we learn a lot from the other people because we see their point of view and how it has impacted on them. However, it has been found through research and various studies that we remember only about 25 to 50% of what we hear with our ears. So what is important is to become an active listener so that you are able to absorb more. You can see the range is very wide, from 25 to 50. And I'm sure if you don't actively listen, you'll even hear less than 25%. So active listening involves making a conscious, deliberate, intentional effort to hear not only the words of the speaker, but also to try to understand the complete message that is being sent. Of course, when someone is speaking, there is what we call the spoken, and there is also the unspoken language. So you must be able to absorb and to understand the words that comes out, their body language, their feelings, so that you understand completely the whole message that is being relayed. So some of the key elements of active listening, first is to pay attention, show that you are listening, provide feedback, defer your judgment, and respond appropriately. Let's unpack each of those 5 points. When you say paying attention, what do we mean? Paying attention is you pay complete attention to the speaker and you acknowledge the message. Look at the speaker directly. Of course, virtually you may not be able, but I'm sure you are looking at maybe my video and you're looking at my PowerPoints. Do not get distracted from listening by environmental factors like noise. You are in a place that you are having so many distractions that you're not even able to follow. Remove all the possible distractions that can distract you from learning, because we said we want to learn to understand. So listen. Listen to the speaker's body language. You can listen to the process, the point they are repeating, what they keep on emphasizing, so that you are able to understand the entire message. Refrain from side conversations when listening in a group setting, so that you are able to conduct only one meeting and we don't have other pockets of groups that are discussing and distracting the whole thing. So that is paying attention. What about show that you are listening? How do we show that we are actually listening? Show the speaker that you are listening by using your body language, by gestures, by nodding occasionally, throwing the comment, smile and use other facial expression when it's face to face. Keep your postures open and inviting. That is the body language. You should be careful and very intentional about the body language. Use small verbal comments like, yes, yes, we can hear you. Aha, to encourage the speaker to continue, and they'll feel like you're showing that you are listening to them. About providing feedback, we said, paraphrase what is being said to reflect your understanding of what is being spoken. That way they can look that you have been following. The other way to provide feedback is to ask questions to clarify certain points that had been spoken about. And of course, you may be able also to summarize the speaker's comments periodically. You saw what Margaret did in the beginning. The other point we say is defy your judgment. When you go into a conversation, please allow the speaker to finish. Defy your judgment. Do not interrupt the speaker with counter argument, because they have given their take, their opinion. You'll also have your opportunity. So please defy your judgment. The other and the last point, which is the key element to active listening, is respond. It's respond appropriately. And we say, be frank, be honest, be open in your response. And also be objective, because it's based on facts and examples. Put forth your opinion respectively and treat the other person as you would like to be treated by the other person. We say respect begets respect. So respond appropriately, treat the other person as you'd want them to treat you. And just to carry on in a very nutshell way, how we influence others through this communication, we said the power of influence can be learned, can be developed into an art. Everything can be learned. Influence is at the core of everything that HR does, because you can see we sit in the middle. If you look at that picture, it's there for a reason. HR will work with all the line managers, all the department, all the functions of all the structures, because we are change agents and we need to facilitate. So influence is at the core of everything that we do. And employers influence employees to be productive. And any person who is in a position of leadership, leadership is all about influence. The other people are looking up to you. They model and they look at what you do because you are a role model. And how you carry out yourself, it's likely to be replicated by the people that you supervise. And including, you can imagine if you're a HR manager who always come late to work at 9, 8:30 coming rushing. Would you have the audacity to ask an employee who is just behind you as you are rushing to open the door why they are late? They'll say, even the HR, we arrived with the HR. So you don't even have the moral authority or the audacity to ask them. So we are role models. And we say, just as parents influence their children to do their chores at home, we also influence our employees and other functions of the organization. We say children influence parents to get what they want because they have learned, they have studied you. They know when to ask and when not to ask. There's a time when mama or their daddy is in a good mood and they'll know this is the right point. I'll know I'll come late because I've marked the HR comes late on Fridays. The way she dressed, she comes with unfinished jeans on Friday. It's a dress down. So she cannot ask. She dresses like this, like this. So we are actual role model for the good and for the negative. So let us portray what is influential, what is positive, because we influence others. So it is important that you should learn how to influence people by doing the right thing at all the times. So ways to influence people, again, summarized in 5 points. Support ideas with data. I think we had explained this. Stay straight. Develop an informal channel where you can leave your desk and you can meet people with the corridor at the tea point at the canteen, and you're able to share information and maybe just gather their opinion or their take on it. You should be able to build consensus so that you're able to get a win-win situation, and you must be committed. And just maybe to unpack each of that, we say support ideas with data. And we had said to influence a team or a meeting or the executive, you need to, you can see we are now coming to an end. You need to clearly present your ideas and thought with facts and information that supports it. Then make people respond positively when a view is supported with data or something concrete. Some background research pays. So if you get some information that will add credibility to your argument, your chance of influencing the case or the facts is very high. Then in terms of saying it the way it is, we say the skill of influencing depends largely on the way you put across a point of view. HR experts say executives should communicate their point of view in a way that makes a direct impact. Both the substance and also the way you put across plays a critical role. So here we should remember, it is not just what you say, even how you say it is very important. So careful choice of words, the timing, the forum, the way the point has been put across, it is very important and has a great impact on how you're going to influence others and how people are going to receive and support your point. In terms of informal channels, of course, remember the issues of confidentiality, where you're speaking, who is hearing, and what content are we talking about. We say that we say it is important to use multiple channels to influence. Apart from the formal influence, you need to know how to lobby, which is done through meetings. Informal influencing the key people is important. Probably you have this great presentation you need to do in the meeting room, and maybe you need to bounce it among your colleagues. You want to ask them, I'll be presenting this. What is your honest opinion? What do you think I should do better? Maybe share it with them so that by the time you're going to present it, you already have points of influences in the meeting. Such informal influencing can be done in office corridors by walking into cubicles of your other colleagues and peers and tell them, what is your take on this? What are chances of what we do, so that you don't meet them in the meeting and they're all waiting for you. Let her come, then we'll deal with her. We'll put her in where she belongs, even in the canteens. So build a network with colleagues and your peers and a good working relationship with key officials during such informal encounters and convey your point, get their input so that they can be able to support your cause. Then how do you build consensus? We say a good leader is one who listens more than they talk. So learn to talk less and listen more. Since he then influences the most, such an approach helps to gain the confidence of the teammates, listen and understand their point of view, and at a senior level, directing people will have very little impact. Where you just direct and command people. The best influencing style is about building consensus, It is about probing. It is about conversing, asking questions so that you are able to gain and influence people rather than directing and commanding other people because maybe you feel you're at a point of influence. And again, be committed to teamwork. That today, it is your project. It is you who is lobbying the other people to support you in a project, in a proposal, in a presentation, in an endeavor. When other people have their issue and they call on you for their support in their functions, please be available, give your support, give your ideas. Someone may just send you their proposal and say, Rhoda, I saw your proposal and I liked it. Caroline, can you put ideas in this? Margaret, are you able to help me even revise all? Don't you do that. Whether another senior managers have their presentation, they are not sure even how to put their PowerPoint on the side. They'll send you their presentation and say, Rhoda, please look at it, correct me, give me input. What do you think I could? Who is likely to object? And you give that input. If you are called upon to do that, please just give it back. Reciprocate what you are likely to ask them to do. When they can come to you before you even have agenda, support them knowing I'll need you another day. So the biggest impact will depend on how professionals live up their commitments, whether or not he's a man of action or not, whether you put action to words, but don't commit to something that may be difficult to achieve. So don't overpromise and underdeliver. If you cannot follow what you preach, then next time your colleagues or your subordinate will not listen to you and will not take you on your face value, so you lose your credibility. On our final leg, to sum the presentation is just how to build what we call harmonious relationship and trust in the workplace. And we say, and also in our social life and other relationship, because we said we are looking at both internal and external relationship. We sum it by saying building positive workplace relationship is essential for business success and prosperity. Additionally, building good relationships at work will increase your job satisfaction because we agreed this is where you spend most of your time, and you will tend to be more engaged in your job and more productive, and you become a happy person. So good relationships are defined by certain characteristics, which may include, but not exhaustive, trust. It is built on trust. Relationship are built on trust. Means you can offer honest opinion without being judged. And in essence, you can speak your mind without hesitation because it's for a good cause, but you choose your words and the timing and the forum very carefully. Then mutual respect, we say it again and again, respect begets respect. Value each other's opinion and ideas creates what we call respect, and respecting people's dignity. And being mindful of other means being accountable for your words and action, taking full responsibility, being careful of what you say to other people, because at times it could be sharp cutting words so as not to hurt their feelings and also not to hurt their egos. Encourage and appreciate diversity. We are all oriented differently. We have different potentials. We have different strengths and weaknesses, and maybe the area that you're weak, another person can be strong in that area. So we bring and use that diversity to support each other. Welcome and accept people's diversity, different backgrounds, and you work in harmony because we are all different. Our understanding, our experiences, and you don't know what someone woke up to in the morning, please welcome and be supportive and accommodative of the other. Then open communication, being honest. You must be credible. You must be reliable throughout your communication so that you are able to build on relationship. And then just tips on a very summarized level, which I think is my last slide, develop your interpersonal skills so that you are able. We said everything can be learned, it can be developed. So develop your interpersonal skills. Then share ideas and opinion. Through sharing of ideas, through opinions, you learn from the other people and you have skill. Speak positively about the other people. Don't speak negatively behind people's back. Then you should also be able to schedule time to build on relationship. You have to invest in other people. If there are social events, there are any activity, You must be able to invest your time to build relationship and to support other people's causes, because one day you will need them. Then you must be able to develop your emotional intelligence centered on self-awareness, being able to handle the other people and being aware of your reaction, your weaknesses, your area, accepting them, putting them down, knowing what you're strong at, getting the feedback and working on the areas of weaknesses, and also seeing the opportunity that you have. You must also be able to appreciate other people, initiate conversations, ask questions, have the courage to approach the other person and ask them, I heard you say this, what is your take on this? You should be able to strike a conversation in every encounter. Then participate in activities together to build teamwork and team synergy and team cohesion. Then introduce yourself at social events, don't shy away, and avoid playing the blame game. Be accountable, take full responsibility. And that brings us to the end of our presentation on communication and influencing others. So I can see time is much spent, but even with that, I'll look at the comments that are there. You can freely unmute yourself, and let's have now comments, questions, Q&A, any comments that you have, any clarification. It's already 12:15, I think, 13. We started around 9:15, so I think we've been fair enough. We have taken your time. So questions, we are now open to question. I'll stop sharing, then I can be able to see your comments. You can just kindly unmute. Let's hear probably what is your take home, what you have learned. Do you think we have learned anything? Have you been able to follow in any questions that needs clarification? So for me, apart from addressing the questions and the issue, that was the end of our presentation. I see no chats, any comments, any questions? Just feel, you can just unmute and we hear your comments. Just confirm you've been following. Yes, Caroline? Thanks for the presentation. Well done. That's from Caroline. So with that, I don't want to close any questions. I think, thank you, eye-opening. Those are just comments that I see. So if there are no questions, I think then if you're in the house, you could kindly just unmute. And maybe there's some questions that we had addressed about the certification, about the payment, about the cost that people missed. If you're able to address that, if you're in a position, then we can call it a day for this session. I'm not sure if he's able to. It seems like he's not able to undo that as our host. So with that, and then with a few comments, thank you for listening. Thank you for following through. I've enjoyed the learning with you, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow we are continuing, and we are having the topic of change management skills. That is module 5 that we'll look at. And then on Saturday, I'll be able to finish my part. We'll be discussing about designing succession plans in the workplace. So thank you very much. Please keep, for those who are joining tomorrow, please let's be on time so that you're able to finish early and we free each other for the rest of the activities of the day. So have a good afternoon. Thank you.